All right, everybody, here we go again. It is episode 19 of Scene 1, Take 3, formerly known as Those Movie Guys. It is episode 19. We did Superman last week, so we thought, you know what? Why don't we just bookend this before we go into episode 20 with a little bit of Batman chat tonight? We're going to probably focus mostly on the movies and, of course, the Adam West TV show, because that is sort of the beginnings of Batman for most of us. Cartoons and adaptions and all those kinds of things, animated things. We'll get into that a little bit, but I think mostly for this chat, there's so much to talk about that we'll stick to kind of the TV and movie stuff. I'm Tom Hutchison. What's going on, everybody? We already have some folks hanging out. It's not Saturday, Mr. Smithers. We announced this already, that because Mr. Noble and I have things to do tomorrow, we moved it up a day. So that's what happens. New bat day, same bat time. What's up, Stephanie? What's going on? In the back is I am, of course, take one, the only one that really matters. But we'll go ahead and bring along take two.
Move it on up, move it on up.
No, you'll never be take one.
There can only be one.
and of course, Mr. Take Three himself, doing that Bat-Tusi.
Oh! Waka! There you go.
I love that we can do gifts now. That's so awesome.
Okay, guys. Hey, what's up, Shawnee? Guys, do us a favor, share out the feed. Let everybody know that we're hanging out doing Batman stuff tonight. Wearing our underwear on the outside of our pants, all that kind of stuff.
Hell, I do that all the time.
Well, yeah, okay. So then obviously David is Batman. We just spoiled the whole thing. David is Batman.
Damn it.
Never mind the car behind you.
So it's Batman night, everybody. We want to hear from you, of course, as we go through the Batman history of kind of the original TV show. And no, I don't mean the Adam West. I mean the original TV show. Actually, it wasn't a TV show. It was more like a movie serial thing. Mm-hmm. But we'll talk about that a little bit, because I actually found out a couple of things that I didn't know about that, which are kind of interesting. And we'll go into Adam West. We'll go into Michael Keaton. We'll go into Val Kilmer, George Clooney, and so on. So, join the chat. Let us know what you think about these movies, these actors. If you got favorite episodes, if you got favorite movies, feel free to chime in. So we're going to start this a little bit like we did Superman last week, because Mr. Fought and I clearly started our Batman world with Adam West. But where did the millennials start?
Honestly, for me, technically the first toys I ever got, the first movie I ever saw was Batman and Robin. The
Batman and Robin, the fourth one. Okay.
George Clooney's Batman was I was the age, the toy demographic age for that Batman. I was a little bit too young for Val Kilmer, and I was at the right time for George Clooney. And
what a shame for you.
I love Batman.
What a shame for you. That's like, it's interesting because like you have Star Wars, right? And you have this group of people that grows up with Star Wars, the original 4, 5, and 6. Right. And then you have a completely new generation that grows up with 1, 2, and 3 as their Star Wars, right? Even though they might have seen the other stuff, but it's like to see it on this big screen. Like, that's their first Star Wars.
But because they did it again in 97 for the 20th anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
That was technically my first interaction with Star Wars as well.
Yeah, the special editions, yeah.
Nice.
So those special editions were also my favorites.
Jim got a rocky start in pop culture. He started with CGI Jabba and Mr. Freeze, the Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze. That's a rough start. CGI it's amazing that you're still interested in anything pop culture after those experiences.
I get all the shitty versions of things. Like even Godzilla was shitty. I got the '98 Godzilla. That was like one of the
right. Good Lord.
Oh jeez.
Good Lord.
I am sorry.
That's hysterical. That's right. Yeah, Jim just came into pop culture in like this really awkward time.
Holy phase where like CGI is not there yet, but we're getting there.
That's funny. That's funny. Oh my God. Yeah, that
Wow.
great Scorpion King movie, right? Woohoo!
No, not even The Mummy Returns. The Mummy
Or
Returns.
the Mummy Returns, right? The Mummy Returns. Yeah.
And I love The Mummy. That's the thing is The Mummy was so
Mummy's
great. And then you see The Mummy Returns with the little mummies.
You see the second one before you saw the first one?
I saw the first one first. I saw that. My dad
Okay.
took me to see that in the theater, and he got a lot of dirty looks because that was like an R-rated movie. And my dad was like, "It's The Mummy,"
Yes, the Mummy. Come on.
and it's the Beatles actually scared me more than The Mummy did.
Yeah, those bastards are scary.
Yeah, the little scaries or whatever. Even though none of them ever do that in real life.
Yeah.
So, I got to kill this stupid Facebook. These dumbasses keep talking to me. I'm in this dumb group chat, and they just won't stop talking.
Oh.
All right. So we're out of there. We're done. So Batman, of course, first appeared 19. Well, it had a cover dated 1939, but it actually was released in 1940. The comic book, we're going all the way back. That comic book, 1939 Batman.
Detective Comics.
It didn't take long. Surprisingly, I mean, and this kind of happened with the Wizard of Oz too. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Really quickly, this thing just caught on. Boom, and there was stuff happening for it. 1939, the comic comes out. 1943, we have the first Batman on film. Basically, movie serials, happening before movies. Back in the olden days, Lewis Wilson as the Batman, Douglas Croft as Robin. Some really good costume work there. I don't know what's happening in the background. I don't know if they're in like Vietnam or something going on back there.
Well, it's World War II, so go buy your war bonds. And,
very good. There you go. There you go. I didn't even think about that. Yes, very good. And then of course at some point they even did a crossover with the Phantom.
Oh, geez.
And I'm going to flip back and forth between these pictures. Watch the Batman dude. He's basically in the same pose, like exactly.
It's like Photoshop before.
I know, right? Before Photoshop existed, that dude knew how to strike a pose, man. He's like, I'm Batman with my flashlight. Check out his flashlight, and he's like, I'm carrying my bat flashlight. The first ever bat equipment is a flashlight, apparently. Now, one of the things that I found interesting about this, because I don't know a lot about this. I've not seen any of this stuff. When I was at Jesse James Comics, he actually bought some lobby cards of these things. So that was I was kind of like, oh yeah, I remember this, but I've never seen any of it. There was a couple of things that were done here in the serials that were then actually translated to the comic. They were not made for the comic. The first was there was an entrance to the Batcave behind. Well, the first thing is the Batcave, of course. The Batcave didn't exist in the comics. It was created for this serial show, the Batcave. And then, of course, they made the entrance in a grandfather clock, which was also translated into the comics. And originally, Alfred was basically a hefty dude in the comics. But in the serials, he was more like we know now, like the Alfred Pennyworth that we know now, the Alfred Go and the Michael Caine style slim dude. He appeared slim in this series, and that got translated into the comics over time as well. So that was kind of interesting. I had no idea, where some of this stuff translated from. And then of course the Phantom crossover is that was another serial that was going on back in the day. Shades of what was to come with Batman and the Green Hornet later on.
Go get him, Kato.
Yep. Kato. All right.
You guys seen any of that black and white stuff?
Never.
Other than pictures?
Nope.
When I went looking, there are some videos online. You can find this stuff. You can see it. It's pretty. I mean, it's the 40s. I mean, what do you want? What do you want? It's the 40s.
No, I didn't even know that existed. That's one my memory recollections all the way back to
43, and then it was popular enough that they did a second one in 49.
Damn.
So by the time it was done, you were looking at basically 1950, and then it wasn't another decade or so before we got the Batman that everybody grew up with except for Jim.
Well, he was on TV Land. He was on with Happy Days. So.
Yes, true. You did. Jim did have the advantage of cable, whereas for the rest of us, we were like, what's on the 3 channels we have today? And Jim's like, well, I got 80 channels because I got
Yeah,
kids.
what are you talking about? It was on like every day between 3 and 4 on TV Land. Like,
I got TV Land, damn it. We had to sit there and hold the antenna while we was trying to get it in, and like on the 3rd channel, and
it's like Married with Children. Assume Fox viewing positions.
Yes.
Yeah.
All there.
Don't sneeze.
that joke is so dated. Like, people watching that now will never
Have no clue. Have no clue. No clue at all. Thomas reminds us that the Shadow also had a bit of a crossover too,
Shadow,
which would make sense. Yeah, the Shadow back in the day.
Yeah.
Shadow was kind of cool. They did a movie for that too. We were not going to do a Shadow episode because there's only one movie.
There's only one movie.
And whatever the old stuff is. That would last about 10 minutes. Little Adam Baldwin show maybe. Yeah. So then we get into the 60s. Now, of course, I was born in the 70s, so I was catching this stuff all in reruns, just like all of us. But it certainly had an effect on me when it was airing. It was color. I mean, it was a comic book on screen. I mean, literally, it was a comic book on screen. Unlike nowadays, where everything's like, well, these are superheroes, so they'd probably wear black. Yeah, come on, give me a break. I mean, even Keaton had the yellow at least, right? In the symbol, but now everything, God help us, everything is black.
But with West, they had they had the pow, bam.
Yes,
wow.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. It was literally a comic book. I mean, every time they would punch somebody, you'd get the sound effects. It was cool. It was something flashy. And listen, there has never been before or since a dancing Batman. All right. Well, this alone, this little scene alone, is one of the reasons that Adam West is probably the best Batman, because the rest of them wouldn't have the balls to do the Bat-Goosey. I mean, come on.
None of them would.
And one thing that we want to do here as we're going through, guys, I want to get your lists of who is the best Batman, and we're basically just talking movies, TV, not voice actors, because that's a whole different world.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about who's the best Batman, but I also want to do the flip side. Who is the best Bruce Wayne? Because those are not the same lists, or at least they really shouldn't be.
No,
they shouldn't be.
Well, the other thing too is in some movies you see more Batman than you see Bruce Wayne, whereas others there's more Bruce Wayne than there's Batman.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. This was a hell of a show too. I lost one. The internet's starting to piss me off. I get all these pictures and I'm like saving them, and I go through my list. I'm like, where the fuck is that one? Yeah. So the Batman show ran 3 seasons. After the first season, like immediately after the first season, they did the movie. So if you guys weren't sure where the movie fell, it fell immediately after the first season. It had all of the key villains, of course. Cesar Romero. I love this guy who wouldn't shave his mustache to be the Joker. He's just like, nope, just take it on, man. No one's going to notice. This is basically the precursor of Henry Cavill not shaving his mustache for Justice League. Like, look, Cesar Romero didn't do it. You can CGI it off now.
Yeah.
And this movie is the reason why they refer to this Batman era as the Batman 66 era.
Era. Not error.
Batman 66. Which, it's crazy when you think about it. Like, 1966, for some of us, was a long time ago. It was almost 60 years ago.
Right.
Batman, Jim. And it had such an impact on pop culture between all the crossovers with other 60s series, and as well as it's later on in later years it got adapted into comic books. In the comic book form, they did a Batman 66 series.
What's funny is for years and years and years, this is long into the 90s and even the 2000s. I was really tired of the whole idea of the real superhero and the grim and gritty Batman dark. Like, I was like, I'm done, guys. We've been doing this for like 20 years. Like, I'm done. And I used to go around and at shows and stuff and just be like, dude, why don't we have a Batman comic that is Adam West? Like, not specifically Adam West, but like, pow, bam. Like, where is just a fun? I don't care if you want to make it an alternate universe or whatever it is. Where is just this fun Batman wearing blue again, and so on and so on and so on. And then, damned if they didn't do it, a few years later, like legitimately Adam West. And I was like, yeah, okay. Somebody's listening somewhere. So, y'all are welcome for me putting that out into the universe. David's watching my thoughts like emanate.
He's like,
well, it's really cool because like it's one of the most well-known Batman is Adam West's Batman, but then when you compare him to everything else that came after that, it's just like did none of these guys who made these new Batman movies ever watch that Batman?
Well, but also that happened because of this stupid Frank Miller moment in time with Batman, where they did exactly right, where Batman went from, I mean, not to say that he was like goofy, Neil Adams and stuff. This was rough Batman and things were going on, but there was a moment in time specifically around that Frank Miller thing where everything just changed. And it was like, we got to go really into this, like super dark, super brooding, like, and that's, Punisher stuff and all this stuff got really, really anti-hero thing. And I understand why, because again, everything changes, everything adjusts, everything adapts to, the time period, the era and so on. But we have never left that behind. Ever since that moment in comics, we have never left those moments behind in comics. Really, for the most part, obviously we had the Adam West Batman come in, but we've never left those moments behind in TV, in movies, in comics. We're just like stuck in this thing. And that's what really kind of bugs me about where we are with all of these things in comics right now. We don't have, oh my God, Facebook, get away from me. We don't have any of the color anymore. Everything is black now. It just has to be hyper real. It has to be black. It can't look ridiculous. Now I understand that sometimes we're a little too ridiculous. Wearing a thing you're gonna do your lawn with around your neck. That's probably not cool right now. It's not gonna work. But when we were watching this stuff back in the day, it had it had an element of it had an element of seriousness because they would always get caught somehow. Giant clams eating Robin and all kinds of crazy stuff. So they would get caught, but they'd figure. That you don't remember the giant clam?
Yeah,
or oyster. Maybe it was an oyster. I don't remember.
I think it was an oyster. Actually, I think
might have been an oyster. Might have been an oyster. But you had characters that were like in case of Catwoman. This is Julie Newmar, of course, the first Catwoman. She did the first 2 seasons, but she was not in the movie. Lee Merriweather was actually in the movie. So we have our second Catwoman kind of filling in the gap between 2 seasons. But Julie Newmar, I think, is the Catwoman that everybody pretty much knows and loves. Eartha Kitt was the 3rd season Catwoman. But where you're going with characters, you had Vincent Price playing characters, and this will come back to Egghead. You remember Egghead?
No.
Yeah.
It's
Egghead. One of the very forgotten Batman villains.
Yeah.
I gotta get the series.
Yeah, Egghead, and we were talking a little bit about Mortal Kombat and how the characters in there were just basically cardboard cutouts. These guys are just kind of standing around saying their lines outside of Kano. Kano was fantastic, of course. But everybody else was just kind of like, whatever. But with this Batman thing, this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about with actors putting character in. Now, obviously, this is an over-the-top thing. It's designed to be that way. But these actors that are coming in, you had Burgess Meredith, the Penguin. Oh my God, I'm not gonna remember this guy's name.
Oh God.
Yeah, but who played him?
Chris, who played Riddler?
Oh, what's his name? Fuck it. I was just reading this.
Chris is looking up. I can't remember.
I can't think. Was played by which season do you want? What do you want? Do you want Frank Gorshin?
Frank
or do you
Gorshin.
want John Aston.
Yeah.
Gomez Adams played him in season 2.
Mhm.
Yeah, Gorshin is the one that everybody remembers. I vaguely remember, now that you say Gomez Adams did, I vaguely remember that. But Frank Gorshin, yeah. And then we went down into some other guys for you, David. King Tut.
Yep.
Remember King Tut, the Mad Hatter?
Yep.
Mr. Freeze, of course.
Okay, hang on for a second, just right there.
Yeah.
Is that a precursor to Darth Vader / Anakin for Return of the Jedi?
Well, I won't say no. I mean, there's a
like
lot of knobs and so
Anakin.
on. Yeah, this is clearly the inspiration for Darth Vader via George Lucas. Yeah. And then, of course, the other part of this, and we'll talk about these as well. For me, this is still the best Batmobile of all time.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Still the best Batmobile of all time. And this was actually a legitimate car too. I mean, this was something that they sold. It wasn't something that was like mass produced, but this was a real car that was just modified a little bit for just kind of like Knight Rider. Kit was a Pontiac that they modified. This is the same way. This will always be the Batmobile to me. As far as design goes. Yes, Frank Gorshin, thank you. We get a little Freddie, excellent, yes.
Excellent. Freddie.
So we're going to talk about the Batmobiles too, because I'm curious to see what you guys think about the Batmobiles as we go.
Oh.
And of course, we all were, every time the credits rolled, we were hoping to see that one little animation at the very end that tells us that Batgirl is here.
Oh, Yvonne Craig.
Yeah. Look at that costume. Look at that purple and yellow. Woo!
Yeah.
I
plead the fifth.
That is a superhero.
Yeah.
Right there. That is a legitimate superhero, folks.
That's
Batman. Same bat time, same bat channel.
place. Yep. Yvonne.
Yeah, all the taglines were perfect. Hey, come back next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. It was brilliant. It was freaking brilliant. And I really wish we could kind of do something like this again. Even in a lot of the cartoons, though, it all went, I won't say like dark, not like dark, grim and gritty, but even the like the Batman animated show that we all know, it was a darker show. It was not a happy, fun Batman. It was a very darker Batman.
It wasn't the Care Bears.
It was not the Care Bears. No, it wasn't the Smurfs. It wasn't. It wasn't.
It wasn't Amazing Spider-Man. It wasn't the X-Men animated series. It was Batman.
Yeah. Who's the origin of fight dancing? Yvonne Craig fight dancing as Batgirl. She had a lot of big kicks. Yep. That's for sure. She definitely had the big kicks. Oh my God!
Even Milton Berle was a villain in the Batman series.
Yep.
Milton Berle. Who did he play?
He played Louis the something. Louis the Lilac.
Yeah. Yes.
With a fondness for flowers.
I have no recollection of that.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's funny.
And
that's
also,
funny.
Sid Haig was on there too.
Was he?
Yep.
Who was he? Just like a gangster,
just like a henchman or something. He wasn't very important. He didn't have a name. But he was.
I could see him showing up as a henchman.
Yeah, he was on there. I was like,
for sure.
I saw an episode one night, and I was like, oh, Sid Haig.
Yeah, that was one of the funniest things. Is like you have all these villains, right? And really, none of them could do shit outside of like Mr. Freeze, who could shoot you with his freeze gun. There really wasn't a whole lot going on. There was a lot of weird goofs from the Joker and the Riddler that like tried to kill people. But every time it got down to like, okay, we're gonna catch him. No, here's like 8 thugs, and once the thugs are beaten, the bad guys are just like, well, okay,
we're done.
I guess that's it. Yeah. I mean, even Catwoman just basically kind of sat in the corner, probably just because they didn't want to have Batman punching girls. I would assume that was a big part of it. Although Catwoman and Batgirl squared off.
Yeah,
but I think in the movie too, the Batman movie, the '66 movie. That's probably one of the movies that has the most Batman villains, like the most like big headliner Batman villains.
It had the key 4. It had your primary 4.
Yeah.
all in the same place. And then it gave you the bat boat. You got the bat copter, all
shark repellent.
Yeah, the bat shark repellent.
Yep.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. It had all the gags that you wanted from that show. I had the ridiculousness of dehydrating people and then rehydrating them. Even using heavy water that was nuclear water, and then when you punched them, they exploded. Like, what is going on? But that's another thing, actually, and something that I as I was watching some of these movies again, I realized, we talk about, there was this whole big thing about the Ben Affleck Batman when he came onto the scene, and he was out there killing people, not even like, he's just like shooting people, and I'm like, wait a minute. I seem to remember Michael Keaton shooting bombs at henchmen and blowing them up in the first movie, and then in the second one,
he
torched a guy, lit him on fire with the Batmobiles thing, threw another guy down a hole with a bomb. Yep. Like, Batman's been killing people for a while. Y'all just aren't paying attention, I think. I get the whole, like, Batman doesn't kill, Batman doesn't use guns. Maybe that's even more specific. Batman doesn't use guns. I get that. But thing is that he's been doing it for decades upon decades.
Yep.
I think y'all just forgot.
Yeah.
So there's that for you. There is that for you.
Well,
go ahead.
I do want to say one thing, and I'm going to probably get hell for this, because I want to bring this up because for Jim. This is for Jim.
Oh boy.
I don't know if anybody knows this. Like, I'm just going to go bring it up. There is a porn version of the '66 Batman movie.
Dude, there's a porn version of everything.
Yeah. Oh, no.
One of my favorite porn stars in that one.
Okay, I don't endorse porn too often because, just me.
I don't endorse porn.
There's only like three scenes, like sex scenes in this movie. The rest of this goddamn movie is gold. It is amazing.
I've seen it. Yeah, Tom, if you haven't seen it, you should
Tom.
I haven't seen any of those things. No.
They're like climbing up the wall, and like Ron Jeremy pops out. And they're like, "Oh, Ron Jeremy, yeah." And they have like all these.
Ron Jeremy, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.
So,
that's already a no.
Like a porn star like cameo. It's glorious.
Yeah, he's like, Ron Jeremy's like the Stan Lee of the porn universe.
Yeah,
where he shows up as cameos in movies now. Well, he used to, not anymore, obviously, but
that's all terrible.
Yeah, there's it's glorious.
Oh my God!
We had a party that night and watched it, so it's funny.
That's all you, man. That's all you.
Yep.
I can't help it.
It's good. It's got good scenes. It's got good costume. Honestly,
and the costumes are amazing.
Costumes, it's like they stole it from Batman '66.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I have heard that the porn movies do like amazing costuming, which is weird because I assumed it all just comes off. But okay.
Yeah, right. Like, it's their birthday suits. Ooh.
Yeah. No, I'm like.
So Shawnee says that the body count for Michael Keaton Batman movie was 83, but that's not him necessarily killing them all. Although he did drop a bomb in the in the warehouse making the smiley X.
Yeah. So
that probably took a few people out.
He killed more people than Rambo did in the first movie.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these deaths are Joker deaths. He's offing people, but a lot of henchmen are going down, a lot of thugs are going down. There's a ton of just people getting shot, so it's not all attributed to Batman. But outside of him bombing the Smilex plant at the end,
you can't do the town, don't do the crime.
Yeah, it's not. You're right, Shawnee. It is not a number that you would expect. You'd be like, how many people died in Batman? Yeah. Oh, I don't know, 12. No, 83.
Also, who's counting?
There's actually a website for this that keeps track of deaths in movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, throw in Friday the 13th.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, and it doesn't include. Now, here's what it doesn't include. It doesn't include things like blowing up Alderaan. It's everything is basically fighting deaths. That kind of stuff. So it's not like world blowing up.
On-screen deaths.
Yeah. So pretty crazy. And that brings us to the movie that everybody said would never work. Mr. Mom as Batman.
Yay.
And even I had the same thing. And I was a kid at this time, kid-ish, teenager-ish. I was like, what are you kidding? Because I'd seen Mr. Mom and I was like, that shit's funny. How are you putting this guy in the Batman suit? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, think about it though, right? Because your Batman before this was a very, in a lot of ways, a comedic Batman. So you assume that the Batman movie would be similar to that Batman, right?
No, maybe maybe if you first heard about it, but once you started seeing the images like this, where he's in the black suit, and you're like, that's not a comedy. You know what I mean? Like, that's not Adam West. So this is kind of weird. So yeah, I was very like, I was seeing the trailers and I was like, this is weird, man. Like, what is going on? Why is he in all black? Like, this is a very strange Batman all the way around. This was a very, very strange Batman. And of course, a lot of that is because I'm not gonna remember his name again. The director,
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton is like, yeah, I don't read Batman comics, man. Like, and famously, Kevin Smith had a response of, well, that explains the Batman movie because it's a weird Batman movie. But it ultimately, really, it worked. Surprisingly, I think to a lot of people it worked. But I think it was because Burton was able to bring whatever realism he was trying to do, because the 66 was in no context real in any way, shape, or form. So they're trying to bring it into sort of a reality where all the Batman stuff was happening, you know, again, since that Frank Miller stuff. But the design wise of Gotham, the suit, the Batmobile, and the Joker, this guy, you know, some of you might know him. All of that stuff landed in comic book world. So it kind of smoothed over all of the let's make Batman real, and kind of left him to exist in a comic book world. Even though there were, you know, guns and stuff on his Batmobile. Yes, this Batmobile had guns on it, guys. It was shooting people. There it is. There's the Batmobile. When I saw the movie, I was blown away. I was like, this is crazy. I immediately, admittedly, I fell in love with this movie, and I was super huge on the Batman movie, the toys, the Batmobile. I love the designs. I love the Batwing, the flying, you know, bat symbol. I was like, that is cool. And I think that's why the thing worked. It ended up having this baseline of cool to it because it still existed in this weird comic book design world. Oh, and Prince did the soundtrack. I mean, what the hell?
How that is a very off the wall person to get for the Batman soundtrack, especially considering Tim Burton as a director, and you know all his other films. Granted, but at this time, Tim Burton hadn't really hit his point yet with movies of Danny Elfman and all that.
Right.
So, like, it was like a early era, like, well, I'll get Prince. Like, Prince is hot. Everyone likes Prince. Like, let's get the most sex-addicted musician on the Batman soundtrack. There's a couple notes I have for this one.
Yeah.
One of them being, obviously, so I know Adam West, like, there's a Simpsons episode about this where literally Homer Simpson's like, kids, look, Batman. And Bart goes, that's not Batman. And they're talking about Adam West. And he goes, oh, well, maybe you know about the movies today, but I'll tell you this. You know, back in my day, I didn't need, you know, fake prosthetics with muscles. Like, that was pure West. Like, it was just a T-shirt cloth like material. There was no fake muscles. And also, if you go back and watch the 89 Batman, when Michael Keaton, every time he has to turn in the Batman suit, every time he has to turn his head, he doesn't turn his head like this. He turns his head like that.
Yeah, he turns his shoulders. He does this. Yeah. Kim Basinger. This was my first experience with Vicki Vale. I had never heard of Vicki Vale before in the comics or any of that kind of stuff. So she was kind of like this.
That wasn't until Batman Returns.
No, Vicki Vale was in the first one.
Vicky's in the first one.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? Oh, no, I'm thinking
Catwoman's in the second.
Thinking of Catwoman.
I'm thinking of Catwoman. Never mind.
Yeah. No. Vicki Vale's the reporter that hangs around with Knox and becomes the girlfriend and gets to know all the secrets.
I'm thinking of Michelle.
Yes. Yeah. One thing that was interesting, I don't know if you guys know this, and it's on the Blu-ray, at least it's on the old Blu-ray for Batman, is there was actually a scene that was actually storyboarded all the way through for Robin to appear in this movie.
Who do you think they would have gotten for Robin during that time?
Who do you
I
think?
have no idea. I have no clue.
You know who I think? I think they would probably get River Phoenix. In 1989, River Phoenix was the hot shit, man.
Yeah.
I can't even think back that far as to who would have been like a 15-year-old to 20-year-old kid to be Robin. I found it really weird. Chris O'Donnell was like way too old to be, Robin. But here's the thing: if you go on the Blu-ray, now I have the Blu-ray that's like the I don't know what they call them, but it's like a book. So you open it up, it's like pages and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call those things, but there's a book. It might be on other Blu-rays as well. I'm not sure. The storyboards are in there, and they take you through the whole storyboard, so you can watch the story. And basically, it's just Batman's chasing through the street, and the Graysons are doing their act above the street. So it's like a street act, street performers. And of course, the Joker ends up killing his parents, and so on and so on. But they actually got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to do the voices for this little like 5-minute clip of storyboards. I mean, I'm sitting here listening, and I'm like, that's them, right? Like that. This sounds really. And at first I thought maybe they just pulled some voices off the cartoon and just stuck them in there. But when it was done, it was like, nope, voices by Kevin Conroy, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. That was kind of cool. So a little bonus thing: the booklet Blu-rays, yes, the little booklets. I don't know if it's on any others. I'm sure it probably is. So it's worth checking out. It's a cool little thing. It was a total throwaway scene. I totally understand why it doesn't exist, because it would stop the movie cold, because you'd have Batman basically like, oh shit, this kid's parents just died. Like he has to stop and reset the movie with Robin versus like continuing on against the Joker and doing all of his stuff with Vicki Vale.
Stop for a moment and be like, hey kid, call this man. And it's just like Alfred Pennyworth, LLC. And like, we'll figure it out later. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Batman roars off, and then Alfred just like drives up in the car. Come on in. Let's go, kid.
Master Wayne wants to adopt you, sir.
He's like in the background of the Batcave throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he's just hanging around. He's just like, oh my God, bats.
Oh my God, bats.
I remember here was one thing. We'll keep moving on here a little bit, but the Prince soundtrack. So you had the Bat Dance, right? And it was a big music video back in the day where he was like cut down the middle, and he was like Batman on one side, and Joker on the other.
He was Two-Face.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, he was Two-Face. MTV, back in the old days, folks, MTV used to play music videos. They used to play music in music videos. This was when MTV was, before they were doing teen mom pregnancy shows.
Real world.
So they had this contest where they would play the video, I think once an hour, maybe something like that. Just regardless of what the show was that was on MTV, every hour they would play the Batman Bat Dance. And the idea is at some point during the day, during the video, the bat signal would come on. Bing, the bat signal, And at that point, you were supposed to, again, this is the old days, folks. You were supposed to get on your phone and call a phone number. And I don't remember what number it was. Whatever number it was, you would win the Batmobile. No shit.
What?
Or a Batmobile. Yes, they were giving away the Batmobile through this contest. I'm not shitting you. Because a friend of mine and I sat and watched MTV all goddamn day long.
Damn.
And the bat signal didn't come on until like 9 at night. So we're literally watching MTV just all day until the last showing, and it's like, oh shit, there's the sign, and we called, and of course we lost. But yeah,
like, hey man, this is Ricky Rat, man. You're watching Headbangers Ball. Oh, there's the bat.
Yeah. Oh, there's the bat signal. That's right. That's right. Oh my God, bats.
Oh my God, bats.
That's my Vicki Vale impression. She comes in and she looks around. Oh, bats. She does. That's her line.
Now,
that's her line.
Tom, did you see this in the theater?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Shit, I didn't see.
I didn't either. It's okay, David.
When I started
You were still sperm at this point, Jim.
I was.
Jim, you were
just a swimmer. You were just a swimmer. Yeah.
He was.
No, I saw this movie in the theaters many times. I was working actually at a toy store at the time too, so all the Batman toys came out, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is all going home with me." So yeah.
I actually had when I first thought I had a video store that I went to a lot. There was like this video store in Walnut Grove, and I had that's where I saw all my horror movies and shit and everything and all. And I walked in, I spent a bunch of damn money there. I walked in, she's like, "Here," she goes, "I kind of just bought something for you. Take it home and watch it." And it was because wasn't that the first bought movie you could get when it first came out for like $19?
Around the late 80s and early 90s is when things started to change with VHS. Yeah, where you could start. They started realizing that people wanted to own VHS. And prices started coming down and so on and so on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The Batmobile was a kit. It was on top of a Corvette. As I recall, it was on top of a Corvette frame.
Yeah.
Corvette chassis, and then they built all this stuff, on top of it. Yeah. Mr. Smith saw it in the theater. Yeah, I saw it many, many times in the theater. I had a full Michael Keaton Batman costume. Full, like head to toe, not just the mask.
Damn.
Head, ears, I guess I should say, to toe Batman costume. I was all about Batman for a few years. And then of course Batman Returns came around, and things got a little weird. This is very here's the weird part. Actually, the casting was fantastic, right? I mean, there's nobody who's going to play the Penguin better than Danny DeVito. That's forever casting. That's Tony Stark Iron Man casting right there, right? You'll never have anything better. Sorry, Colin Farrell, you're not going to be better than Danny DeVito. Even Michelle Pfeiffer at the time is great casting for Catwoman. I don't know who else maybe could have fit the role, but what she did with it was fantastic. But man, what a weird, long, almost boring movie.
There is a strange casting role in this movie that I'm curious to see how it would have turned out.
What's that?
Billy D. Williams was casted as Harvey Dent.
Oh, sure. If they had pushed him through to be Two-Face, yeah, sure.
How would that work out?
I don't know. I remember talking to friends of mine back in the day, and they were like, in their minds, they were like, Billy D. Williams isn't a strong enough actor to pull off a primary villain. He was fine as Harvey Dent, just in that sort of tertiary role. But to be like, okay, now you're in front, go Billy D. In their minds, they were like, yeah, he doesn't have what it takes to do that. Kind of like what we talked about with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Maybe there's not a feeling that she can carry a movie. They didn't think that he could either. But Danny DeVito, to his credit, I mean, it was basically a Penguin movie. I mean, really, the majority of the movie was the Penguin story, which wasn't a bad story. And that's the thing. It's not that this was a poorly conceived thing, but it was you're almost halfway through the movie before you got any real Batman time.
Yep.
Even Bruce Wayne was kind of secondary for a while, and you had Christopher Walken in this thing.
The one thing that, and this kind of blew my mind. I watched a deal one day about it because I love Batman Returns. I like it just as much as the other one, and
I don't hate it, but especially after watching it again last night, I was like, I don't like this as much as I thought I did.
Well, I watched the deal one day on a making of it, and somebody said something that blew my mind. They said it's not really a Batman movie; it's more of a fable.
Sure. It's the Penguin's fable, of course, 100%. Yeah. It's the Penguin's fable, yes.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh shit, that to me that makes sense."
And that's the Tim Burton brain screw going like, "Hey, let's do something, outside the box."
And they said like when Tim Burton signed up for the second one, Warner Brothers is like, Tim's like, "I want to do the second one, but I want to do it my way. I want to do it this way. I don't want any studio interference. Just let me have at it." and that's what happened. Like he kind of turned it more into a fable type.
Yeah, and Warner Brothers was like, here, take our money.
Yeah, here, take our money, just make it. We made butt tons on the last one. Do it.
Actually, what's really crazy is at the same time that Batman Returns was being made, he was also trying to make A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh.
And this is the reason why he's not a director on The Nightmare Before Christmas is because Warner Brothers was like, well, we need you on Batman Returns. So he was flying back and forth between studios while trying to make this weird project that we all know now as The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, and Batman Returns was filled. I mean, it was number one. It was very dark. It went way darker.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, the Joker was pretty dark, but I feel like it went a little bit darker as far as the storyline with the Penguin. It was filled with sexual innuendo. I mean, it was everywhere. Like, and not just with Catwoman. I mean, it was everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, I don't remember all this, man. And so one of the problems was you have a Batman movie that you got to sell some toys of. And how are you selling sex doll Catwoman, to kids? What mom is buying their son, Michelle Pfeiffer leather clad Catwoman toys? Nowadays it would be a boom. But back in 92, I think.
92?
I think it was 92.
Was that?
I think it was 92.
Yeah, it's 92.
It was 92.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was like 3 years later.
It was 1992. Hey, it came out on my birthday, a year before I was born.
Oh wow!
Oh man,
well,
that's funny.
Remember, like you said about the sexual innuendo, the bed scene, dude. Like when she's laying on the bed.
Well, she's laying on the bed. They're cracking innuendo jokes. She's getting on top of him and licking his face.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
I'm like, wow,
what's happening? And I mean, again, so I would have been like, I don't know, what was that, 92? Jesus, I would have been 17-ish or something. So for me, it was fine, but it was definitely like one of these things where there was too much Penguin, too much. The pacing was off. Whatever. I did like the suit. The suit was sharper.
Yeah.
It was cleaner. It wasn't quite as like, hey, let's just put something together on him. So the suit was cool. Whatever. All the Penguin. It was all there. I feel like somewhere in there you could re-edit this thing to be, instead of 2 hours, about an hour and a half, and you would have a sharp let's go Batman Returns.
I think Keaton said that he had some suggestions when it came to the suit the second time around, because he's like, I don't want to fucking not be able to piss for 16 hours.
Well, and if you look at the neck is loose too. And he does actually turn his head.
Yeah.
So he gets that happening as well.
Yep, James.
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman is the Penguin's dad.
Yeah. And
played,
right.
Gozer?
I don't remember.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, Christopher Walken. And I think his mom is the one that played Gozer on Ghostbusters. If I remember, I have to look that up.
She is somebody. Yes, I recall them being like something. Tim Burton knows those guys.
She was in House on Haunted Hill. She played one of the ghosts, and I think it's the same girl. I think
she was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She was in Batman. Obviously Batman's Creature, The Morning After, Right to Die.
That's what I was thinking of.
Star Trek.
That's probably not her. She was in Creature.
But
it's Pee-wee's Playhouse. That's the connection right there. They're both from Pee-wee's Playhouse, and they were the Penguin's parents. Yeah.
And what's his name? So that, how Christopher Reeves dies in that movie. He was supposed to be. They had considered for the next Batman movie to bring him back.
Christopher Walken, not Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Christopher Reeves. Christopher Walken.
Like
they could blackface, or no, I'm sorry, not blackface, Black Mask as the Batman Forever villain, but then that changed. Because if you look at Christopher Walken's at the end, where he's all fried up, they thought about possibly, but I think the technology wasn't there enough to do that Uh,
Oh wow.
and the movie that followed, they're like, nah, he's dead. He's not coming.
He's not even- Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. And they of course run through all of Catwoman's lives except for one. And then she pops her head up at the end.
Dun, 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 dun.
Da-da-da, da-da-da.
So quickly, we're gonna do this right now. Who's the best Batman? Adam West or Michael Keaton?
Damn you.
Rank those two right now.
I'm not going to like them both. I'm sorry.
Look, I've seen Keaton more than I have seen Adam West. I'll have to say, if we're only doing the two, as of
Just right now, we're only talking these two right now. Rank these two right now.
I'll have to do Keaton first, and then Adam West next.
David,
I can't do it.
I can tell you the last time that I watched a Batman 66 movie. I've seen Michael Keaton's Batman and Batman
hell.
Forever.
Sure.
Or not Forever, Returns numerous times.
Sure.
But literally, the last time I saw the Batman movie, the Adam West one,
yeah,
it was my first day of high school in 2000.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and I'll never forget it because I'm like, "This is my first day of high school," and I'm getting ready, waiting for the bus, and I'm watching Batman on the TV. I'm watching the Adam West's Batman. I'm never gonna forget this date, and I don't forget that. I literally watched that. I woke up at freaking almost like 4:30 a.m. to watch that movie, and then to get on the bus to go to high school.
No, I get it. I grew up with Batman 66.
Yeah.
So he's ingrained in me, but I loved Keaton. Like I was surprisingly happy with Keaton. But for me, my rankings for these two alone is West 1 and Keaton 2 as Batman.
So
This is not the Bruce Wayne list. This is the Batman list. So
Yeah.
West and Keaton in that order, but they're basically both 1 and 1A essentially for me.
So see the world even.
Choose, David.
Oh,
You're the only one.
God damn it! I'm going with Keaton. I like West. I'm going with Keaton.
And incidentally, before we take the next step, that thing that you're talking about with the Simpsons, they did that same thing in the Big Bang Theory, where they were talking. They had Adam West in the car with all the guys, and they were talking about who's the best Batman, and he was like, "It's all grade A West," with the suit. Yeah, it's really good.
Like literally every single Batman since Michael Keaton has all have the muscles, right?
Yep.
Whereas Adam West, he's just like, I just wore a shirt, man. Like, what more do you want?
What more do you want?
Yes.
Shirt.
And a little cloth mask. It wasn't even leather. It was cloth.
It was like satin. It was like a purple with like a blue. I mean, yeah.
Eyebrows on it.
with drawn on eyebrows. Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Correct. So we went to Batman Returns. It kind of tanked ish. Did okay. It wasn't, but it just didn't blow anybody over.
Oh wow.
Hundreds of millions, but
yeah, I mean it wasn't good enough that they brought everybody back. And I know there was talk about Keaton coming back and all of that, but the studios decided, of course, now we're gonna go a different direction. And we ended up with what theoretically should have worked in Val Kilmer. This guy was a pretty hot actor at the time, coming off a number of different things. He looks
the Doors.
He looks good in the suit, which is half the battle right there. You got to look good in the suit. Of course, they did give him this guy to work with, which was a little rough, in my opinion, a little bit rough. But Kilmer really should have done well. I don't know that the movie lives and dies on him necessarily, because there were other things that were weird about this movie. Jim Carrey basically channeling Frank Gorshin through the whole thing, which was okay, but it doesn't really bring anything to the character because you kind of feel like you've already been there. But I think that was kind of the reason they did that. Like, hey, let's just get this guy because he can be our Frank Gorshin.
Well, he's also, I mean, at the time that this movie came out or was being made, Jim Carrey was the flavor of the month. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
will. He was coming off of The Mask, Dumb and Dumber. I don't think he had done Ace Ventura at this point, but he was he was the hot comedic actor. And
For sure.
when you're thinking of a guy like the Riddler, well, who do we get, and who's the funniest comedic actor that can be in a movie? And Jim Carrey's that guy.
Yeah, and he has the ability to, like we said, to be this movie. This movie goes back to like what I was talking about. Where's the color? Where's the fun and all these things?
Yeah.
But it also goes to show that just because you do those things doesn't mean you're going to succeed. This was a very weird, fucked up movie. This to me was one of the biggest failings. Was Tommy Lee Jones?
There you go.
I don't think that Tommy Lee Jones had a clue what was going on in this movie. And he was like, yeah, I'll be in a Batman movie. Pay me a lot of money. And they were like, okay, you're going to be Two-Face. And he's like, cool. What's that? And someone told him, well, one side is going to be kind of normal and the other side is kind of funny and a Joker. And he literally became the Joker. Like that's all he was in the whole movie was he was the Joker. And it was the biggest, like, I don't want to see this guy on the screen anymore. Take him away. I don't want it. I don't want it. And I think that really hurt the movie. He also had, oh my God, Tom Cruise's wife, the original.
Oh, Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman was Chase Masterson.
No, that was the fourth one.
Yeah, who was digging on digging on Batman.
You know what's really crazy is that for the role of Batman, the guys they were considering, the director was considering for Batman, which actually would have been more sense as Robin. Ethan Hawke was considered for Batman for this movie.
Robin.
Ethan Hawke in 1995.
Yes.
Not now, not 10 years ago, not 20 years ago. Ethan Hawke in the mid 90s. He's still a kid. Also, one of the Baldwin brothers, I think it was William Baldwin.
Oh my God.
No.
Keanu Reeves was considered Batman in 1995.
Can you imagine that? We talk about like Nicolas Cage as Superman, right?
Holy crap.
Keanu as Batman? Oh my God.
I would have paid to see that.
That would have probably that would have destroyed the franchise is what that would have done. But prior to George Clooney destroying it. But holy cow, that's amazing. That is amazing. Holy smokes. Yeah. Batman Returns or Batman. Sorry, we're on Batman Forever. Batman Forever. It did have Drew Barrymore in it, which helped me a lot in that movie. Sugar and Spice, the bad guy dates for Two-Face. It wasn't the pun-filled nonsense that the next one was, but it didn't hit anything for me. I remember, here's the funny thing. I remember coming out of it enjoying it. Like I was okay with it at the time. I was like, yeah, this was okay. I really like Jim Carrey. But then as I watched it again and again, I was like, this is irritating to watch now. There is some weird cut footage of stuff that you saw in the trailer, like the giant bat was in the trailer. There is some cut footage with the bat. That you can go on YouTube and find some of this cut footage. It's not on any Blu-rays at this point, at least not that I know of. There's a lot of cut footage that kind of would have changed the movie a little bit. But I don't think it would have saved it. I don't know that anything would have necessarily saved Kilmer. Because while he was a decent Batman, he was really a poor Bruce Wayne. Just really just a nothing of a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Way too uptight, way too, bow tie. I'm the bow tie guy, just super stiff. And not at all what we had with Keaton, of course, who could step up and be the, hey, I'm wearing the nice clothes, but he always had the character behind him. He always had sort of the personality underneath the rich guy. Whereas Kilmer was like, well, I'm the rich guy. I have to be
that cocky. He was always like,
yeah, he's the I'm better than you guy.
Yeah, the glasses, and I'm better than you, and just stoic look, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, didn't work. He had a garbage Batmobile with the big.
Oh, yes.
I forgot to get a picture of it.
Yeah.
With the big, I don't even like the big
Is that the one that
wing
had the
antenna
two?
thing in the back.
Yeah, or the one or the two.
Oh my god! Now I have to find it. I have to find it now.
Yeah, I think Batman and Robin was the one with the two in the back, had the spinning light in it.
Yeah. I mean,
That
this one
was-
kind of had that
Yeah.
kind of bit too, but it changed a little for the next one. But it was, I mean, they're basically very similar. All right, here we go. I got it.
Yeah, what's really crazy about Batman Forever is that, so I was introduced again. The first Batman movie that I saw was Batman and Robin.
Oh my god!
I didn't know that it was a sequel to all three of these movies. So the Robin from Batman Forever, I didn't know that he was already in the previous Batman movie. So I just thought he was just Robin in that one movie. And then years later, when I finally did see this, you know what's crazy about this Batmobile? I had this toy. But here's the crazy part about the Batmobile toy that they did for this. Do you remember basically any video game system in the 80s and 90s where it had the cord that's connected to the game machine?
Okay.
Yes. This Batmobile had a handheld device to move the Batmobile, and it was on a cord, just like a video game.
Oh my god!
But the cord wasn't that long.
Yeah, it was just a remote control car.
It was a remote control car with a cord, but the cord was like 2 feet.
Sure. Yeah. That was a thing. Yeah. And back in the day, people didn't understand that remote control meant a cord and radio control meant no cord. And so you had all these I got a remote control Batmobile. Ah, shit. I can drive it for 2 feet.
And it did not work on carpet.
Correct. Yeah.
I remember getting that, and it was so cool when I got it. And then, like, after like an hour of it, I'm like, "Well, this is stupid." Because like literally, I had a whole house was carpet. There was like only in the kitchen I could actually like move it around, but the carpet was just like,
yeah. Oh yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, this was this was underwhelming, but I don't know that anything could have prepared us for what was to come. And poor Jim's childhood.
I had that toy. I had all the toys from this movie. I had
I don't doubt it.
The nipple Batman, which literally the nipples were embossed on the action figure. You could feel the nipples.
And were you feeling the nipples, Jim?
I was feeling the nipples. I remember I had that toy for so long. I had the Mr. Freeze. I had the Robin, and I remember the Mr. Freeze. I literally like fucking dunk it in the toilet and played with it in the toilet, man. Like it was crazy.
Why weren't you putting? Listen, this was the precursor. Yeah. You should have been putting him in the freezer like you do with your phone. Yeah. Like what?
Yeah,
what
I know.
Are you doing? He's not Iceman, or he's not Waterman. He's freaking Mr. Freeze. Put him in get some ice cubes and put him in the freezer.
He's blue, and the toilet water was blue, and it only made sense. But I had the Batman that I had. The George Clooney Batman, it was like one of those spring head Batmans where you stick his head inside the body and then put the towel onto it.
Yep.
Yeah. I had that. He was all muscled out.
I just remember seeing this in the movie.
The designs for the bat suits, Joel Schumacher often talked about how he wanted them to be like essentially like these Greek gods, these statues. Yep. You know, and all of them are basically naked, but he couldn't do naked, so he did the cod pieces and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he just kept. I mean, and he did that in Batman Forever. First, there was that stuff existed, but it went to a whole new level with the nipples in the next movie. It took it to a whole new level. And in fact, if you look at Batgirl, even she's got a little pokey stuff going on there, which is a little surprising that that got through the Warner Brothers censors.
I mean, it was cold all the time. Dr. Freeze.
Well, it's Mr. Freeze. Yeah, it's cold all the time. Yeah, of course. That makes sense.
The Ice Age.
I just remember seeing this in the theater. And at the beginning, like when he's sitting there, he goes like, was it the scene where he goes like, you know, I love the car, chicks love the car.
Right.
He goes, this is why Superman works alone. And the theater like erupted.
Yeah, that
they
was
mentioned
really the
Superman.
first time that you got a crossover reference.
Yeah.
At the
Oh God, no.
at the beginning of the movie, and I remember I watched this the last time I watched this one too was we were underway on a submarine, and I remember because there was a guy that was on the boat that had seen this in the theater, and he goes, I can tell you the exact scene that I walked out of the theater, and I go, which scene? And it was the scene, like it was like almost like at the very beginning where Mr. Freeze freezes like the whole room that they're in, and Batman looks over at Robin and goes, "Don't worry, I got this." And he fucking clicks his heels, and they turn into bat skates.
Yes.
Yep.
He starts skating around on the ice. He goes right here. When they had the bat skates, I was like, "I'm fucking out."
Gone.
Yeah, this yeah, this was a whacked movie.
This was as close to the Batman 66 movie as you were ever going to get,
right?
With Batman.
But when you do this after you came off of this,
right?
I mean, this is obviously about 8 or 9 years later, but you know, the Keaton stuff was so popular. This stuff was kind of a hit or a miss, and then you just went square into Neon.
Oh my God.
You know, and let's not forget the best movie Bane of all time.
God.
Oh yeah.
Oh geez, yeah.
He's a wrestler.
Yeah, wasn't he like a wrestler? Like
that dude was, yeah.
Oh God,
that's a wrestler. That's why I didn't have any fucking lines in the whole movie.
And Rob has the line, "Holy rusted metal, Batman." That is the line.
Yep.
Of course, everybody lost their minds, and then of course they showed literally "Holy rusted metal" on the thing, which was funny. I'll give them that. You know, even bad movies have good moments. That was a good moment. You know, they had some fun with it, but I think they just had too much fun with it. Joel Schumacher was basically, this is Joel Schumacher doing his Quentin Tarantino impression. Like, how Joel Schumacher can I make this movie and still get it made? And here it is. And that's what we got. This was a disaster. I remember almost walking out, just being not because of the basket, but just because I was like, I don't want to hear another pun. I don't want to hear freeze again. Like, I don't.
A cold day in Gotham.
I don't want it.
Freeze.
The only thing that kept me there was Alicia Silverstone, because I'm like, I know she's Batgirl, man. Just give me some Batgirl.
And $1 a day for Arnold Schwarzenegger on that movie.
What? Say it again.
$1 million a day.
Yeah, $1 million a day, no joke.
Oh my God.
I'm going to do it.
And you know, actually, this was literally the only Batman movie that my family has ever owned on VHS or DVD. Batman and Robin. We never owned Batman Forever. We never owned Batman Returns.
Wow.
Batman 66. Batman Begins. You know, The Dark Knight Rises. Literally, Batman and Robin. That was it. They never bought any. No. They did do the Batman animated cartoon movie with Mr. Freeze, but that was it. Those were the only two Batman movies that we had.
I remember coming out of this thing, and the only thing I could think of, the saving grace was, please God, give me a Batgirl movie. This is all I want now, is give me the Batgirl movie. Make up for this nonsense and give me the Batgirl movie. We didn't get it. We didn't get it. And I've said this before too. People are like, hey, what would you do if you like got to work for like DC or Marvel? I'd be like, well, if I went to DC, I'd be like, look, this is what I want to write. I want this Batgirl. Give me an alternate universe. I want that because I can make that sing. So yeah, that is the takeaway for me for Batman. For that. So yeah, go ahead.
I just started to say, didn't that like kill her career? Wasn't that?
I mean, it didn't kill her career, but you know, she there was a period where well, I mean, it was like Clueless and all these things that she was doing. But then it you know, like in a lot of cases, unfortunately in Hollywood, once women reach a certain age, like the roles just kind of go,
yeah.
And then they have to kind of reach a higher age to be like, okay, you can be the mom now. in a lot of these things. So it was kind of a bummer for what happened to her.
I couldn't
Incidentally,
remember
she was in the remake of Diary of a Wimpy Kid as the mom in Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Really?
Yeah, and she was really good in that. So
Wow.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
miss Alicia Silverstone. I miss her.
Yeah, exactly. She was a great actress. She was super fun. She
It's
was
like-
super fun.
It's like Christina Applegate, like she was super
Yes.
good during the Married to Children time.
Did a couple of movies and then she was gone.
You don't see her for a while. She comes back for Anchorman, and it's like, okay, she's back. All right, awesome.
Yep. That's it. Okay, so now we have 4 Batman. Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney. What's the 4? What's the ranking for the 4?
Oh God. And oh no.
George Clooney.
See, look at this nonsense millennial. George Clooney is the best Batman. Come on.
George Clooney, Michael Keaton, Adam West, Val Kilmer.
I can't even continue the show. I can't even continue the show. It's no longer a serious show anymore.
Nostalgia. You know what's real funny is I'm
it's
looking at
fresh.
the Wikipedia for Batman and Robin, and then there's a C also, homosexuality in the Batman franchise.
What?
Well, yeah, that's because of Joel Schumacher. Yeah,
Yeah.
he readily, freely admits all of that. Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
Funny.
100%,
It could be a gold day in Gotham.
100%. So for me, it's Adam West and Keaton. They don't change. They won't change. And then for me, it's pretty clear. For me, it's Kilmer and then Clooney.
Really?
Yeah, Kilmer and Clooney.
Yeah. I think
Clooney was a
mine is-
terrible Batman. He just was a terrible
Yeah.
Batman. He was literally, listen, this is George Clooney. Hi, Freeze, I'm Batman. That's
admitted
George
it.
Clooney doing Batman. Hi, Freeze, I'm Batman.
Batman.
Like, what is that?
Well,
That's terrible.
George
He
Clooney
played
down
a
the line
doctor.
admitted it.
He played a doctor on TV. What more do you want from him? He's
He just,
he's only a man.
hi, Freeze, I'm Batman.
I'm being paid a lot of money for this movie, but
That's
hey,
right. I'm not getting paid as much as you, but I'm Batman.
So
if I'm not getting paid
Okay.
$1 a day, fuck you.
all right.
I'm so Clooney.
So
I'll
give me
do
the
this.
4, David.
Yeah. It's gonna be Keaton, West for me. And then Kilmer and Clooney.
Clooney's at the bottom.
Clooney. Oh my god.
The bottom.
Oh, and we forgot. Do you know what we forgot in Batman and Robin?
What?
The bat card.
The
We
bat
forgot to
card?
mention the
Oh,
bat
the
card.
credit card. Yeah, the bat card. Yeah.
Yes.
Can't leave home without it.
Listen, we forgot a lot of things in this movie. There's a lot of things we forgot about, and we're gonna let it be that way. That's
Let's just
fine.
go.
It's
Wait.
fine.
But wait,
It's
before
fine.
we go on to Batman Begins, let's
Yeah.
just honorable mentions. Let's remind everybody that hey, there's 4. We literally had 4 different Batmen within a decade of each other.
Yeah.
Technically 5 if you want to count, the Batman Forever series, but you also have the animated series with Kevin, Kevin. Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Michael Keaton, and then the 2 different animated Batman in the
Mhm.
90s. So the 90s was a really, I guess I wouldn't say the golden age because Batman had been around long before that, but the golden age of the silver age of Batman.
Yeah,
was-
it was the rebirth of Batman. I mean, Batman was everywhere. Even when the movies kind of were stinking, there were cartoons, they were selling toys. It was a franchise beyond just the movies.
Right.
A total
was-
resurgence.
Right.
It was very big. Not just comics, cartoons, video games, toys, all the merchandising.
The comics the comics were gigantic back in those days. Gigantic.
Yeah, like when Bane was first introduced, Knight's Quest or
Well, even before that, everything was going up. I mean, they put out the first new Batman book in 40 years when Shadow of the Bat came out.
Yep.
Stuff like that. So, and part of that was comic book culture, but part of that comic book culture existed because of these Batman movies that were happening at the same time too. So, Marvel was the joke back in the day in this period of time as far as this kind of stuff goes. They were completely behind everything DC did. And really until the X-Men showed up in the early 2000s, they were an afterthought as far as this media
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, as far as movies go, like they had now
The movies. I'm talking about movies and stuff and TV shows. Yeah.
X-Men. Yeah, but the cartoons, they had some good cartoons, but for the longest time, DC had they had already paved the way per se. I guess with
Right. Yeah. I mean, Marvel learned from DC. We can say that Marvel learned from DC. That's where the X-Men came from. That's where everything kind of started going up for them. I mean, they were almost bankrupt. They literally almost sold Spider-Man to DC.
Right.
They were dying in the 90s, borderline death. And well, it wasn't so much the 90s as it was like late 90s, early 2000s, where things were kind of shaky.
The whole image boom and
image booming up.
That didn't help.
No, it didn't help anybody except for image.
I mean, even if you look at the stuff in the mid '90s, not to go off on a tangent here, but some of the stuff in the mid '90s that Marvel had done, even after the image guys left, it wasn't bad. It was actually there's some really good stuff that came out of it, but also there was a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and part of that reason was you were in that period of time where content was everything, because every comic number one you put out was selling like 1 million copies. So how are you not just going to keep churning stuff out and padding your pocketbook? I mean, that was just what it was at the time.
Heroes Reborn, Captain America, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, the Hulk was the 70s, late 70s.
Yep.
Late 70s was the Hulk.
Yeah.
It was like, I think it was like 3 seasons. The Hulk was a good show. Wonder Woman, I don't know that I can say Wonder Woman was a good show. I liked it. I think the last 2 seasons were better than the World War II season. I think it just kind of felt a little more going on than when, there's only so much you can do with World War II when you're in the 70s at this point.
The rerun factor between those 2 shows, you were more likely to see an Incredible Hulk TV show rerun than a Wonder Woman rerun for probably, I mean, even up until like the last 10 years, most likely you'd see Lou Ferrigno more than you would see Linda Carter.
Sure. I remember when FX became a station and they put Wonder Woman on FX, and my cable company didn't have FX, and I was pissed off.
Damn.
And a friend of mine lived in San Diego and he had it. And I was like, dude, I'm going to send you videotapes and I need you to record all the Wonder Womans. So yeah, that's how hard that stuff was to find, for sure. 100%. 100%.
That was my first. That's actually also my first Incredible Hulk. Was Lou Ferrigno technically?
Sure.
The 2003 Hulk, but I had already known about the Hulk before that because of those reruns. But.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. On to the next reboot. And somehow I don't have a picture of this guy. How do I not have a picture of this guy? No, I have a picture. It's here. Where the hell did it go?
Talk about, oh boy.
Talking about Mr. Bale. Mr. Bale. There he is. Boom.
He was a really good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So here we go with Christian Bale. This is a guy I didn't know who he was. I had no clue. So this was the first time I had a Batman that I didn't know who the actor was.
You mean to tell me that you never saw Newsies? Look at me, I'm the king of New York. You never saw,
No. I had no idea who Christian Bale was, and that didn't bother me. Yeah, it didn't bother me. I wasn't like, oh, I don't know who this guy is. Get him out of here. I was like, okay, I don't know. Let's do it, I guess. This was another movie that, and we're now talking about another decade between Batman and Robin and this reboot, the Christopher Nolan reboot. And again, we went real, but again, this time we went really real. Like this was, what if Batman was real? In basically every aspect, in the costume that he builds, in the area that he lives in. I mean, Gotham is just a city. There's no personality to it. There's no, Tim Burton,
right. It's
giant cat heads anywhere. It's just a city.
The Batmobile is like, look, it's a military tank, basically. Like,
let's just get it out of the way. The Batmobile is shit. This is fucking stupid.
Yeah,
this is the worst Batmobile of all time.
What didn't they say? It built bridges or something? Like they used
it was a bridge layer. Yeah, it was supposed to. Yeah,
it would carry the cables across the riverbank,
which is fine. I have no problem with those things existing, but to go ahead and turn that into your Batmobile after this,
Yeah.
And after this,
Yeah.
and even really after this, you know, it's like
it's the most durable, you know, the most durable from damage.
sure. But we're not talking about having missiles shot at it. We're talking about
when it turned into
We're
the Dark Cycle, that was kind of weird too.
we're talking about the Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul. Like these are, we don't need a bomb-proof, you know, thing. We don't need an armored thing. So yeah. So okay, so we come into Christian Bale. I liked the movie. I thought it was a good retelling. We did have a lot of retelling with the whole, you know, thing. But what I really liked about this was, because again, at this time, after all the Batman we had been going through, the Joker was just permeating everything. The movies, the all the cartoons, it was just Joker. And I was like, God damn, if you put the Joker in here again, I'm out. And we got Ra's al Ghul, which I thought was a great choice. Even though we didn't really get to touch on the Lazarus Pits. That was kind of a bummer. Of course, that came sort of later. But I love the Scarecrow. I thought this was a great villain. Again, he was grounded in reality with his little toxins and stuff, but because of the toxins, he got to be all super creepy while also being just sort of, you know, a dude in a mask. And I can never remember the guy's name who played
Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy, is that how you say his name?
Is that it? Cillian Murphy?
Yeah.
I like him. I thought I think he's a good actor. I like stuff that he's in. So he was a good choice for the Scarecrow.
Red Eye. That's how I can always remembering.
I don't. Oh, Red Eye. That's that one where they're on the plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Right. I did like the. You know, we got a different backstory for Bruce, where we got to actually see him become the ninja that he is. So I thought that was cool. The
whole League of Shadows thing I thought was really good.
Yeah.
This is why I think, personally, not Batman, Bruce Wayne, probably the best Bruce Wayne we'll ever get in any of the movies. I don't think they'll ever do a much deeper backstory than what they had done with Batman Begins and that series.
I don't know that being the best Bruce means having the best story. The best Bruce is who carries the character the best. You know, like Adam West, for example, has no backstory. Zero. He is just Batman, and he is Bruce Wayne, and he is rich, and let's go. That's it. So, you know, while he plays a good Bruce, he doesn't get the backstory, but he still plays a good Bruce. Even Keaton, basically we get a brief. Keaton was different because they changed it. They changed the whole thing with the Joker killing his parents. So Keaton got kind of bonus story, but again, it's not so much that the story that he got, but how he played Bruce as the kind of carefree, happy-go-lucky billionaire guy. You know, how many cases of champagne should we open? 6? What, 6? Is it 6? 6 is good. Let's go 6. You know, and again, and on and on and on. So I think there's definitely, you can look at this and be like, Adam West got shit to do. Keaton got a completely different story to do. Kilmer got nothing. Got nothing. He got analyzed by Chase, you know, as being a why do you want to fly around like a bat? And who did we do? And Clooney got nothing. Clooney got 0 as well. So Bale is the first one after Kilmer and Clooney to kind of get this backstory again, which is the same in that his parents were killed, but then it was elaborated with the League of Shadows and Ra's, and it was really good. It was really good.
Some really cool stuff. When I first saw this, I was already out of Batman. I was out of Batman at this point. I was not into Batman. Batman was not cool.
I was the same.
I was a X-Men kid at this point. The X-Men,
sure, yeah.
they have 3 X-Men films between these movies. So I was already on the Marvel side of things. And so when Batman Begins came out, I never saw this one. I did not see in the theater.
Oh,
I had seen it on demand because my grandfather was like, "Well, it's a Batman movie. It's about Batman." I'm like, "Okay." But it was all right. And also,
Did you not want to, or did it just not happen?
I just
Like, were you actively like, I don't want to see it?
it wasn't that I didn't want to see it. It was just at the time I was so, and this is pre Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff as well.
Oh, sure, yeah.
2 years before that, and the whole superhero thing. It wasn't cool to be into any of these superheroes. When you're a kid, it's cool to be in a superhero.
Also true, yeah.
When you get into middle, I wasn't. So at this point, I'm in middle school. So to say that you went to go see Batman over the weekend, you're a fucking nerd. And then fuck you, like basically that's how it was for me. So I wasn't really going out to see superhero movies at this time.
Sure. Brian actually asked a question. Why did WB up until recently just think Batman and Superman were the only characters? Because of comic book sales. Comic book sales for Aquaman, The Flash, Wonder Woman, all that kind of stuff. They were never the equal of Batman and Superman. Also, Warner Brothers, and it's still kind of the case now, has no clue how to do anything other than Superman or Batman.
Thank you.
And even now, everything that they do is still based in Batman sort of auras. Because even Superman is this dark guy now. Wonder Woman isn't really dark, but she exists in dark sort of worlds. Aquaman, that's a whole different podcast, man. But basically, the comic book sales were not there. They didn't have faith that they could really do a lot of that stuff. Remember, there was a Catwoman movie that came around prior to this as well that went right off a cliff with Halle Berry. There was also the Green Lantern movie that went right off a cliff with Ryan Reynolds, which kind of surprising with Ryan Reynolds. I don't think he did a bad job in the movie, but the movie was just bad. So they just didn't have faith somewhere in there that they could pull it off.
With the Green Lantern, I just think it was honestly what made the movie better is that they had picked a better villain for him to fight.
Yeah, doing the whole parallax thing was the wrong way to go. It should have just been Sinestro. Like,
oh god,
100%. Because they had that, and they ended it with the whole Sinestro is going to be the villain in the next movie, and then of course that never happened.
Mark Stone, I think's his name. Mark somebody. Perfect freaking Sinestro. Oh my god. When they showed that, I slightly peed myself. And
the parallax that they did wasn't the parallax from the comics. I mean, it was a completely reimagined parallax idea. I mean, it just completely flatlined in all capacities. But Ryan was fine. I thought Ryan was good. But they just, I don't know what the thought process was of, let's take one of the coolest Green Lantern stories in all time and like rewrite it.
Let's make Smog.
It was the most well-known, and before Blackest Night, probably the most known Green Lantern story.
Yeah.
And then they just dropped the ball.
You could have easily done a Green Lantern Sinestro movie and then turned that into a 2-part sort of parallax thing. And just, I mean, with all the space crap and all that, I mean, you could have literally created like a Guardians of the Galaxy, endless trail of space movies with this stuff. You could have brought in Guy Gardner. You could have brought in what's his name?
John Stewart.
Stewart. Yeah, you could have brought in Stewart. I mean, you could have just gone with it, man. You could have brought in Lobo at some point. Imagine that.
Oh, and that would have been the perfect time to have what's his name? Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo as Lobo. I would have loved that.
Yes.
I mean, I can see that.
Oh my god.
I can see that.
At the time. Now he's way too old. But
sure. Yeah. You're talking almost 20 years ago. How ridiculous is that? Green Lantern came out 20 years ago? What the fuck?
What? Holy damn.
Pretty close. I don't know if it's exactly 20, but it's got to be close.
It's got to be close.
It's like 15, 16, at least 15 years for sure.
Oh Green Lantern movie was 2011.
No.
So it's 10 years. That's it.
No.
2008.
Yeah. So did I. So it's only 10 years. It's only 10 years.
Jeez, that did not age well at all.
No. Not when we're all thinking it came out like forever ago. Yeah.
Damn.
So where the hell were we? Christian
Batman
Bale.
Begins.
Christian Bale Batman.
Christian Bale, Batman Begins. Yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I was back in Batman at this point. I was like, yeah, this is cool. I like it. I was really excited about the bad guys. I was like, oh, okay, so maybe like next time we're gonna get something like, I don't know, Killer Croc or something weird like that.
No.
But we got this fucking thing.
So so here's my biggest problem with this movie. Now, and to put things in perspective.
Are we talking about Dark Knight now?
Yes, we're talking about Dark Knight. So So now I know I mentioned Batman Begins. I was out of comic books. I was out of superhero movies. I was done. That was 2005. It's beginning of middle school. This movie had come out at the end of middle school. So middle school was done. Me being bullied in middle school was over. I was a freshman. It was new start, whole new thing, right? It was also the same year that Batman. That movie came out. Iron Man came out. Incredible Hulk came out. I was back into superheroes. I was back into comic books. I was buying comic books at this time. They had just finished World War Hulks. I was into this whole comic book thing. I was back into it, baby, full throttle. I was collecting little miniatures, the Hero Clicks or whatever they call them.
Sure.
And oh man, I was so fucking into it, and I was like, fuck yeah. And then freshman year of high school begins, and all these fucking girls who literally were like, you like superheroes, were like, oh my god, Heath Ledger Joker. And it was like, fuck all of you, you're all full of fucking shit. Fuck you, you fucking asshole fucking pieces. Because it was every fucking goth girl was like, Joker in the Batman movie was so hot. Heath Ledger, oh, rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Like, you didn't give a shit about him in Knight's Tale. I don't remember you fucking throwing flowers for that fucking movie, but the fucking him as the Joker, are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck? So that was a coming of age movie for me.
There you go.
I also want to point out, I was still not used to superhero movies being 2-hour movies, over 2 hours, right? So the scene where Batman is pulling out Harvey Dent out of the fucking fire and everything, I thought that was the end of the movie. I thought, okay, that's it. Great, we're done. I got up and walked out of the theater, and I stood out there for at least 5 minutes waiting for my family because I thought it was already over. I'm like, because I had to piss, so I went to go piss. And so I'm standing there.
That
and I'm
millennial
like,
bladder.
Well, why aren't they coming out? And I walked back in, and I was like, oh, there's like a whole nother hour of the movie. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was the start of those long superhero movies.
I'm gonna catch shit for this on this. I don't think this is as good of a movie as people think it is. I don't think Heath Ledger deserved the Oscar.
Did he get an Oscar for it?
What's that?
Yeah.
Did he? Yeah. He got an Oscar for it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
But I fully believe that he won the Oscar because he was dead.
Probably.
I believe that he put in a decent act, in a big movie. And people were like, oh my God, Heath is gone, which, we don't want him gone. That's not the point. But I feel like it was sort of let's go ahead and give it to him. Oscar versus, that guy really killed this role and did something special. Because if you watch the movie at the beginning, it's great. Like, I love the scene where he first comes in. I love I'm going to make a pencil disappear. Whomp, I was like, whoa, all right, we got a Joker. Like, what's going on? But the rest of the movie, outside of a couple of scenes, everything that kind of makes him what he is more cinematography, directing. Like when he's going out the car and he's like doing this, like, out of the car and stuff. That's the cinematography stuff that kind of brought him through for me versus like a pure performance. So while I didn't hate it, I kind of a little bit of hate grew in me just because I feel like it was getting more hype than it deserved. Like, I thought the first Batman was way better than Dark Knight. Part of that was because I don't want the Joker again, guys. Like, I was still in that mindset. Like, no more Joker, please. But the rest of it was just kind of like, it's fine. It had a lot of great writing. It had a lot of great lines. It had a lot of great concepts, but just from a pure 100% executional standpoint of it, the movie just doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything to stand out. I would watch Batman Begins right now before I would even consider wanting to see Dark Knight again.
Yeah, the other thing too is when you look back at during this time of rewards, right, for Oscars and all that, and still actually honestly to it doesn't matter how much you make at the box office anymore. No matter how good these superhero movies are, they've never really given rewards to superhero films for the longest time, and it was still a long time before they were given rewards again, right? So like,
Yep.
and if you look at, I'm looking at the list now because someone had asked, well, who was he up against for?
Yeah, he beat Josh Brolin from Milk. He beat Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder. I mean,
Oh, damn.
right there, that's a freaking roll.
And-
Michael Shannon for Revolutionary Road, and Philip Seymour Hoffman on Doubt. I mean, guys, there's no way Joker Batman beats at least three of those guys.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, all those actors are really great. Now, Michael Shannon maybe at the time may have not been the worthy winner, but at least Brolin, Downey Jr., especially Downey Jr., because that was we're at the turning point of Downey Jr.'s life where he had done Iron Man. Tropic Thunder was he done Tropic Thunder before Iron Man was a breakout success. He wasn't expecting that to happen, so he was like, "Yeah, I'll do Tropic Thunder," but then he became Mr. Iron Man, but he became Tony Stark. But and Josh, I mean, and well, the movie Milk, I mean, that was a really good movie for what it was. They got a lot of nominations. I don't know if it won anything.
That's the Sean Penn movie, by the way, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sean Penn, who you may remember from the movie Bad Boys. Did you guys ever see that movie Bad Boys?
I saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He was in a movie. This is before Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Okay.
He was also in a movie called Bad Boys in the 80s, and it had Clancy Brown in there as a bully.
Remember that one?
And there's a scene where Sean Penn fucking fills up a pillowcase full of soda cans, and Clancy Brown and this other guy come in. They're like, "Hey," and then Sean Penn turns around, fucking beats the shit out of these guys with the soda cans and the pillowcase. Dude, it's awesome. And then literally at one point in the movie, one of the kids who Clancy Brown was picking up. Clancy Brown's an asshole the whole movie. He's a bully. So they're in juvie basically, right? One of the kids takes a boombox and puts a bunch of nitrate in there, so when he turns it on, it explodes. So Clancy Brown is listening to music, all of a sudden goes, "Bah!" and like blows out, like in his face, and he's like, "Ah, ah!" Like you never see Clancy Brown ever scream like a young kid ever, like in any of the movies he's in. It's great. It's actually a really great film.
It's a good movie.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can buy it for like $6, I'm sure.
Or just watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Or Spicoli. I mean, you can't beat Spicoli. I mean,
Spicoli.
Whoa! What was Judd Hirsch's name, or Judge? What's his fuck in that movie? What was his name?
Judd Nelson.
Way to go, Feldman, or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, at the end. Yeah.
Way to go, Goldman.
It's not Goldman.
It's not Goldman. He said, "Way to go," whatever the fuck his name was. Yeah. Exactly. So great.
Yeah. So Dark Knight, like, again, it's not bad. I'm not sitting here telling you it's a bad movie. I just think it got more hype than it deserved, and I think it was because he died.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you 100% because I remember being in high school at this point, and everybody in high school was the fucking. There was all these Heath Ledger imitators in my school. They wanted to be the fucking Joker from that movie, and it was just like are you like none of you fuckers like Batman before this fucking movie?
Right. Also that. It's like all of a sudden there, but this was true. This was at a turning point, like you just talked about, with Iron Man coming around the corner. You got these Batman movies coming. This was a beginning of a turning point of
it was cool
superhero pop culture.
Yes.
Yep.
It was cool again. Like it was because I remember being bullied for liking these movies before these movies came out in 2008, and then all of a sudden everybody liked it and it was okay, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. for sure. And then once the Marvel movies kicked in, it was all over. I mean, now they changed pop culture.
End game.
Yeah, for sure. So this, he's fine. He's fine. I would have given the Oscar to Downey probably. Because that was a role.
Wow.
Yeah. And dude playing, and not just that, it wasn't just the way that he played it, it was what the role was, because the role was really fucked up. This dude doing not just doing blackface, but becoming, like, having his skin tanned to become this guy. But it was also the commentary that was pushing it back onto Hollywood. There was so much involved with that character. It wasn't just that Robert Downey Jr. did blackface, because he didn't. That wasn't the point. It was this Hollywood. Everything about the Tropic Thunder is fantastic. And Robert Downey Jr. should have gotten that Oscar. So yeah. So there we go. End rant. Then we move on to the disaster. Go ahead.
Honorable mention, Daedric Bader was the voice of Batman in a Batman series between this time on a cartoon. Yep. And actually, he's probably one of the best Batman.
Was this the Batman, the Batman cartoon with the Batwave and all of that stuff?
Hold on. Let me. How do you spell his name? Daedric.
Because I know Mark Hamill came back for that too. He came back and did the Joker on that show.
Joker. That crazy looking Joker thing that
I love. I actually love the Batman. The theme song. Batman. Like, I love that show.
Hold on, I'm looking it up now. Okay. Wait for it. Kevin Smith talks about his role as the Batman in this thing a lot. Where is it? God damn it. Why is it not showing up? Motherfucker.
Brian, you need to go rewatch Fast Times at Ridgemont High again. Because Sean Penn's best role is not Mystic River. That was my skull. I'm so wasted.
Here we go.
Glad you can make it, Brian.
I was looking at the wrong category. There we go. Voiceover roles. There we go. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, fuck up. Come on. Give me the television. There we go.
This is some great airtime, dude.
Batman, the Brave and the Bold.
Oh, Brave and the Bold. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, he was Batman. Holy shit. Not only was he Batman Bruce Wayne, he was also Matches Malone, Kilowog, Ace, Owlman, Solomon Grundy.
Damn.
He was a lot of different well-known DC characters.
That's not a new thing. I mean, like, they're like the Transformers TV cartoon, like those dudes were doing like 2 and 3 and 4 voices too. Yeah.
Well, it's not hard. It's not hard to do robot voices like oh, go get him, kill Switch.
Well, there were a few that were like Casey Kasem was doing, like, I mean, they had like legitimate names on that stuff before even the movie, like on the TV show. They had these legitimate names. It was pretty crazy. So let's talk about this.
You were trying to.
You know what's it's so funny is when this movie started, right? And everybody's kind of like, okay, Bane, all right, he looks kind of cool. This could be interesting. And then they have that scene with the plane, and he sounds like the guy from the Haunted Mansion tour. I literally started laughing in the theater. I was laughing. I was like, you have got to be kidding me that Tom Hardy sounds like this. What? Who made this decision? Because this is a bad decision. So right off the bat, I was lost in this movie. I was absolutely like, this is not going to work, guys. As much as I enjoyed Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, actually, technically, she was not Catwoman. She is credited only as Selena Kyle. She was never actually Catwoman. There were a lot of people that were like, well, she doesn't do any of the cat moves or anything. I'm like, well, that's because she's not Catwoman. She is a cat burglar. She is Selena Kyle. So, while we're deviating from some source material in some ways and so on, I thought she did a great job as the cat burglar, Selena Kyle. She helped me maintain my interest in this movie, but so did Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. This guy was the actual star of this movie. And it is the only reason that I would have said, yes, give me another one of these Batman movies from Nolan, because he would have been becoming Batman essentially. Joseph.
is there a reason why they never did a sequel to this movie after?
This kind of flopped, didn't it?
It didn't do well, but it was
Yeah.
Nolan's trilogy. He
Yeah.
was done basically. Now I guess you could have probably said, well, Nolan, we're going to take your concept and run with it.
Right. We'll go to another director.
Yeah.
Here we go, Peter Jackson.
Right. Especially since Snyder was doing all of this stuff. You know, he was coming into his own at this point. He was working with Nolan on these things. His name is on some of these movies.
Yeah.
And then of course Snyder came in and did his stuff, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think it was a matter of Nolan didn't want to do more. They didn't want to do it without Nolan. He may have even had contractual stuff that I don't know. But then they knew that Snyder was coming and they were going to do kind of another reboot to create, because at this point they were like, hey, it's time for us to do our Marvel universe. And there was talk at the time that Bale, they were trying to throw money at Bale to be Batman in the upcoming DC movie universe. But I don't know if Bale was just like, there's not enough money in the world for me to put this suit on again, or you know what happened. But obviously it didn't happen. And we got
Connor and Terminator.
We got and we got what we got. You know, we got Henry Cavill, and then of course Ben Affleck. But this movie just, to me, just failed on almost every level. I was insanely bored through the whole thing. I wasn't following the story. I wasn't following the backstory. Nothing was working for me on this, not just because of Bane, but the what he was trying to do. Nothing was landing for me. Maybe it was too much. You know, maybe I'm too dumb to understand what was going on, but I was not understanding it at all. So I hated this movie.
Michael Caine as Alfred in this entire series at this point, I think he was probably the best Alfred that we'll ever have for now.
Yeah. I mean, it's Michael Caine. He's going to be good in everything.
Yeah. Well, except for Jaws of Revenge.
But he is fine. The movie's not great, but he's fine.
But it's probably the most Alfred we'll ever get for at least a while. I mean, you get Jeremy Irons as Batman, as Alfred in the new Batman stuff, but Michael Caine kind of,
he's okay. I mean, he's fine. He's a modified Alfred. You know, he's not quite the, oh, Mr. Wayne, I'm here to help. You know, he's kind of like, yo, Bruce, you're a dick. You know, figure your shit out. So he's a very different Alfred, but he's fine.
I hope to one day see you at a diner that I'm eating in on vacation. Like, all right, Alfred, calm down.
Okay, Alfred.
Yeah.
But you know, and I know I had mentioned this before on previous shows, maybe not this show, maybe on Unscripted, but when this movie came out, so at this point in my life, I was in the Navy and I was on deployment, and in the Navy or in the military in general, they give you like advanced viewings of movies sometimes. And this is one of those movies. Yep. However, on a submarine, we had a special, it was basically kind of like beta, right? They give you the special tape, you put it in, you play it. However, because the Dark Knight Rises was so long, it was split into two. But we didn't know that. So, when Bane breaks Batman's back and the screen goes black, that was the movie for us. We didn't know, and I personally did not know that there was more to this movie until months later, because when that happened, I was like, man, that's cold. They didn't give us credits or nothing, and because also it's advanced screening, so I assumed they were just like, oh well, it's an advanced screening, that's probably why it didn't have credits. Yeah. But like when it just cut like that, I was like, wow, so I guess next summer they're going to do The Dark Knight Rises Part 2, like kind of like what they did with the Harry Potter. So like they'll do a Part 2 next summer. No, they did the whole movie, but we just never got the second tape. So
you never even got it?
We never got the second tape.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
So the way I thought it ended was fucking Bane just breaks his back. I'm like, well, that's it. But they're going to do another movie next year. Okay, and then it wasn't until later, like on a different deployment, when they were watching it and that scene happens, and then it keeps going. I'm like, what is this like? Is this like a special edition? They're like, no, it's the movie. Like someone had to literally explain it to me. They're like, no, dude, it's an entire movie. Like this, that was only like the first part of the movie. There's a whole nother half. I didn't know.
Well,
That's funny.
for me, like real quick, I remember this is when like my career like started taking off a little bit, and we had a local theater down here, and they asked me to be this is when they had the midnight showings. If you guys remember, this is when that shooting happened. Like,
Right.
this is when the shooting started happening.
That happened when I was underway.
Showing.
And I knew a guy that actually was friends of people that got killed in that theater.
Oh God, dude, I'm sorry.
There was a guy on the submarine that was like, that was his hometown, and he knew people that got killed, and they had to take him off the boat. It was crazy, dude. He was crying.
Yeah.
I was like really confused. I'm like, what happened? They're like, oh well, some dude dressed up as the Joker shot up a theater. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, and like all of his buddies died. I'm like, what?
Well, that's what I mean, because like I went to this theater. They asked me to be there if I'd want to do sketches for people and do Batman stuff, and have I drew a small poster just to hand out to people for free that's gonna go see the movie. And they said, at midnight, if you want to, we'll pay you to be there, and we'll give you tickets to go see it at midnight. So I just remember like doing that, having a blast, doing sketches for people, and all that. But I remember going in and seeing the movie. I'm like, God, I'm so tired that like it didn't get over to like literally like I didn't get home till like 4:00 in the morning. I was like, oh God. And then when I came home, I was like, I'm gonna turn the TV on for a second and just kind of see what's going on. And they had that plastered all over the TV. Like it's breaking news that they had a shooting after that. I was like, holy shit. I was like, wow. But yeah, that's one thing I remember about I don't remember the movie too much. Like I have the movie. I just don't remember too much. I just remember doing the signing and stuff and everything and doing all that. That was a blast. But the movie itself, I was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, Gary Oldman is James Gordon. I mean, he was really good.
I liked him.
He was good. I mean, there was a lot of good actors in those movies.
Yeah, yeah. And I liked what's her name that played Ra's al Ghul's daughter. Spoiler alert, but
oh yeah,
I like her.
Yeah, Talia or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, also, so at that time too, when that Batman movie came out, I was already done. At that point, I was done of DC.
Yeah.
I was still in the comic books, but I was on the Marvel fucking fan train, fucking hardcore, man. I was so into Marvel at that time. I was like, fuck DC, man. All they got all shit movies. All they got is Batman. At that point, really, all they had was Batman. Batman dominated.
Batman.
Yeah. And then Superman came out a few years later after, right when the New 52 reboot was happening and all that. And then we roll into where did it go?
Oh God.
But he was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
Yeah. Phantoms was awesome.
It was really interesting that this Batman didn't get to start in his own movie. He actually shows up just to fight Superman. That's a weird introduction to a brand new character actor. The whole thing. Affleck for me was a wild card because I like Affleck as an actor, but for me, I was like, dude, the visual of this, I'm just gonna like look at this guy and be like, dude, that's just Ben Affleck in a Batman costume because he's got that recognizable chin, which they masked a little bit here. You can kind of see in the mask. They modified the jawline a little bit so it's not just Ben Affleck in a Batman costume,
right?
But really, for me, the rest of the suit is where it all falls apart. I can't stand that gray and black suit, and I know why they did it. I know it's supposed to be like the Batman Returns thing and all that, which goes back to my just my hate of all of this grim and gritty and dark and everything's real stuff. So Ben was going to have a tough road to hoe for me. Just because of what they did to him, not because of him, but because of what they did with the Batman character. Yeah. And how they portrayed the character. It was also very weird that he appeared in Suicide Squad for like 5 minutes. It just everything about the Batfleck is very strange.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's also interesting to see that he was a pre-MCU universe Marvel character. He was Daredevil.
Yep.
Oh,
Daredevil.
right. Daredevil. Yeah.
So for Warner Brothers to be like, well, he played Daredevil like 10 years ago, I guess we could bring him in as Batman. Like, All right. Well, because when you think about, even after Daredevil, between Daredevil and the Batman movie, the Batman Superman movie, what did Ben Affleck do? Ben Affleck did a lot of weird, different movies. He did.
Just
He wasn't.
weird.
He's not an
Yeah.
action guy. He's not a comedy guy. He was
No.
kind of like doing a little drama.
He won an Oscar for Argo.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yep. He did Argo. Yeah. And then they're like, well, you want to do Batman? Like, well, all right, I guess I'll do Batman.
I'll do Batman.
I
Right.
honestly, when they had announced that he was going to be Batman, I thought for the life of me that they were going to get Matt Damon into that Ben Affleck movie as either Dick Grayson or as Robin. It would have made my world if Matt Damon somehow got casted as a Robin or as a Dick Grayson to team up with Batman. It would have been so awesome.
No.
Please.
Dude, he's way too old to be Robin. Oh my God. Chris O'Donnell was too old to be Robin.
Yeah.
Or look, make him Commissioner Gordon. Make him something, or make him, he could have been Superman. Batman versus Superman. Matt Damon versus Ben Affleck.
Oh my God.
I would have paid. I would have paid.
You are never allowed in Hollywood thought process rooms. Like, no, Jim Noble, get out of this room.
They had they had so many opportunities to have Matt Damon in one of those scenes in any way, shape, or form. And Matt Damon is the Joker. Why couldn't he be the Joker?
Because no.
It would have been great.
I mean, listen, he would have been better than Leto, but no.
No.
Which isn't that crazy that literally Christian Bale and Jared Leto both shared a scene in American Psycho, Batman and Joker, but of two different franchises.
Yep.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
the Affleck Batman, I don't know that we're ever going to see it again.
No.
You know, he had a really weird role in the Justice League movie with his dream stuff and, you know, all that. I think Warner Brothers really honestly, and listen, their history tells you they are not afraid to just be like, fuck this. Nope. We're going over here now. They've done it enough times that it's pretty clear to me that there's no save the Snyderverse. It's pretty much over with at this point. They're going to rebuild with Shazam. They're going to rebuild with Aquaman. Patty Jenkins tanked Wonder Woman, so God knows if we'll ever see Wonder Woman again. What a pile of crap that was. But they, and again, here we go. We're talking about Batman. We're going to go expand a little bit. They did this Joaquin Phoenix thing, which just was this weird, like, let's make a Joker movie, I guess? Question mark. I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool. Really, really strange. This was maybe the strangest decision for them to make within all of their stuff. Maybe not, because again, we're talking about them doing this multiverse thing, you know, like Crisis and Flashpoint and all of that. So technically, yes, all of these Batman can exist. All of these different Jokers can exist, and they can do whatever they want whenever they want. I mean, that's the ideal filmmaking, you know, platform, right? Is we don't care, do whatever you want, because we can just say it's Earth 27 versus, you know, where Ben Affleck lives or whatever. But the Joker movie for me, I mean, I'm assuming at this point everybody's seen it, so I'm just going to throw out a little thought process here. This movie didn't happen. Okay,
really,
this movie didn't happen. You watch that movie again, and specifically when you get to the end, you will realize that the entire movie was in his head.
Dude,
it didn't happen. Okay, spoilers, it didn't happen.
I gotta be watching
that is my theory. Now, again, this can be a Joker on an alternate universe, all those kinds of things. That can simply be the case. We just did a Joker movie. It's on an alternate universe. That's why things don't mesh up the way they kind of should. But within the context of the movie, there are scenes where it's like where it shows you, hey, this didn't happen. It was in his head. This didn't happen. It was in his head.
Yeah.
Like that's in the movie. And so when you get to the end of it and he's back in Arkham or whatever hospital he's in, that movie didn't happen. So there's that. Beyond that, I kind of feel like this was a movie like somebody came to Warner Brothers and said, look, I have this mental health movie that I want to do. And I think it would be really great to do like a mental health movie. And they were like, I don't know how the hell to do this. Oh, wait a minute. What if we did a Joker movie with your script? And we did a mental health movie with the Joker to kind of ground it in something that people understand, because people have no clue about mental health. Like they're absolutely lost about what is going on in everybody's heads and why things are so weird. So to me, that's what it was. This was a script like, hey, I've got this mental health thing. How do we sell it? And the answer is the Joker. There's my Joker stuff.
You know, so I was looking at my Facebook, and you know how like Facebook has the memories that pop up, right? Like, hey, see what dumb shit you posted a decade ago,
right? That we can ban you for.
Right? Yeah, literally. So literally, I shit you not. I'm looking at it right now, and literally. So actually, it says 9 years ago, but I know it's actually from 10 years ago. I was at a TGI Fridays, and I had filmed a 15-second. Apparently, I had filmed a 15-second video where it was a picture of Adam West in the Batmobile, and I took my camera and I was going no Batman, and literally like I want to share it, but also it's like, God, I was a fucking idiot when I did this, like, because it's from 10 years ago. I was like right before I joined the Navy when because I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing. But it's actually fitting for today's episode, Batman.
Yep. There you go.
I want to share it, but I don't know. Damn.
I will add one small thing real quick. I think Batman's the hardest fucking thing to draw in the life. I can draw anything, doesn't bother me. It takes me 4 or 5 attempts to draw Batman to get it right.
Which Batman?
Any of them. Like, it's just the angles of the face and shit and all throws me off because of the way the mask fits and everything.
Well,
right.
But are you
Especially
trying to draw Batman, or are you trying to draw a specific Batman?
Just a Batman. Like, I like to do my own just to like fuck around. And like, even when I try to do my own, it looks so stupid. Like, I'm like, okay, I'll put the small ears. No, let's put the big ears.
Listen, the big ears are always the right answer.
So with Batman, even the Bernie Wrightson ears with the
the super crazy ears. Oh, I don't know about like the Kelly Jones ears that are like 2 feet long. Those maybe not. Maybe not Kelly Jones ears.
So now that we have Affleck, now that we've talked about Affleck, which is the best Batman?
Which is the best Batman? So the list as we have to date, the list that we have to date, I'm going to give you mine.
Wait. First off, we're going to go with best Batman, best Batsuit, best Batmobile.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
I have to adjust my list. All right. So here's my Batman list. I did my Batman list prior. My Batman list is my top 2 will always be Adam West is the best. Michael Keaton is number 2. Christian Bale is number 3.
Okay.
Ben Affleck is number 4. Kilmer and Clooney are at the bottom. That is my best Batman list. Now, here's my best Bruce Wayne list, which is a different list. This is a different order. Well, mostly a different order. To me, the best Bruce Wayne is Michael Keaton. He plays a loose Bruce and a pretty strong Batman. So there's a good duality that we don't get with everybody. Second is Christian Bale. He's kind of the same way, except that Bale forces the loose Bruce. That's not really him. That's an act that he puts on because Alfred's like, yo, man, you got to go like loosen up and hang out with the chicks or people are going to figure things out. And so he goes and, buys hotels and swims in fountains. So it's not really Bruce, but he puts on the act. So we got Christian Bale. Ben Affleck, kind of similar, same way. He's basically loose enough, but there's not a lot of change between the two, but there is enough that he's number 3 because the next ones are West and Clooney, who both of them, as Bruce Wayne, do nothing to change their they're Batman. Whatever
No.
they are as Bruce, they are the same as Batman, 100%. So they are there. And the worst Bruce Wayne is Val Kilmer, because that guy just made up this weird stick up his ass Bruce Wayne that makes no sense to me. And while he was a good Batman, he was not a good Bruce Wayne. So there we go.
His ass the whole time, which is why he wasn't asked for the next movie.
Yeah.
So there's my Batman to Bruce.
Okay. All right. What about best Batman? Batmobile.
Well, you guys do your Batman lists, and I'm going to work out my Batmobile.
Okay. David, you want to go, or you want me to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, Batman. All right. Christian Bale, George Clooney, Michael Keaton, Adam West, Val Kilmer. Now, if we conclude the animated guys,
that's a whole different world. That's a whole different world. Yeah.
Guys, I mean, the list would be way different. Bruce Wayne, I definitely had to say Christian Bale would be number one for me. Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, Adam West, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney. I think they're all the same at the bottom. They wouldn't be a different.
Yeah.
But one's not above another, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay. Batman. Mine's pretty much like Tom's. Base switch top. Mine's I might have to go Keaton, West, Bale. Who's the other ones we got?
Yeah, we're not doing Kevin Conroy from there's lots of other Batmans.
Yeah.
Listen, there's lots of other Batmans. We're kind of just sticking to the guys that have had, the big impacts or the roles over a period of time. I know Val Kilmer obviously and Clooney only got it once, but there are lots of other Batmans. We're just kind of keeping it simple right now.
Did you see Smithers' comment?
No.
No. Where is Smithers? What's wrong with Jim? George. Yeah, I know. Listen, I almost shut this show down. I almost shut this show down.
Last two, I'd have to say, as Batman, Kilmer then Clooney. Bruce Wayne's. My favorite's Keaton. Second favorite's Bale. I like George Clooney's his a lot, so I'd do that one third. Who's the other? West, because like you said, it wasn't the same.
Right.
It was about the same person. And of course, like you said, the stick of his ass. I hate Val Kilmer's.
I'll be
his Bruce Wayne. I loathe it.
So the Batmobiles, for me, it's Adam West is number one forever. Yep. Adam West number one. I do like the Batmobile from one of the cartoons. I think it was not the Super Friends, the one that came after that. Maybe Challenge the Super Friends or something, where it's like a blue car with like the bat head like painted on the hood. Yeah. I like that one too. But we're not talking about the cartoons, but I do like that one. So for me, it's Adam West. It's Michael Keaton. I think Ben Affleck's thing is okay. Not that giant tank at the end of stupid Justice League, but he drives a cool car in his own in the Superman and movie. So Affleck, then it's all dumb. But we'll give it to Kilmer just because it's weird. Then we'll give it to Clooney. That's basically because it's derivative of Kilmer's. It's basically the same card, a little bit of changes. And then that Tumbler goes at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, I definitely have to go. Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Roger, ready to move out. Like,
James.
that Batmobile, probably best about that Batmobile. Keaton Batmobile would be the next. Yeah, I'd have to go, honestly, like, because Kilmer, Clooney, whatever the fuck they had, would be in the middle.
Basically the same car, yeah.
Affleck's Batmobile just. Out of all the Batman, the one I've seen the least is Ben Affleck, right? Mm-hmm. So honestly, the Christian Bale's Batmobile is going to be the bottom, but right before the bottom is
That's fair. I mean, Affleck's car is basically an RC car, a radio control car from like the 80s. It's exactly what it looks like. And it's all black and it's got a lot of guns on it, whatever. But yeah. The only reason it's ahead of the Kilmer stuff for me is because the Kilmer stuff is just this neon weird, like, okay, I yes, I'm against like having everything be black all the time, but I don't need neon undercoating for my Batmobile. So yeah.
Mine's gonna be super simple. Oh God, it's a toss up between 89 and 64 or 66. I'm gonna have a 66, 89, 89, 89, and it's honorable mention. I don't give a shit. The Adventures of the Batman Adventures, that one from the cartoon. I love that one.
Yeah.
Throwing it in too. Like I'm doing as
the one from the Batman Adventures is basically just a modified version of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I can't stand any of the Batmobiles. I like the 89, 64, and that's it. Well, and the Batman Adventures.
So I'm gonna put this up here for those that don't know or may not have seen it before. Come on.
Which, while you're putting that up, I got to see
go ahead.
89 Batmobile in person.
The what?
89 Batmobile in person.
Oh yeah, where at?
Screen used one. They had a car show up here, and they brought in the screen used one, and they had Michael Keaton's outfit and everything with it for Batman Returns.
Oh, wow. I've seen
cool.
the 66 Batmobile, but it may have been a replica. Possibly. There's more replicas of that than any of them, I think.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Now this is very derivative off the Adam West, which is probably why I like it. You've got the yellow eyes up in the front. You got a little bit of fins going on. It's very, very derivative. But it's blue instead of being black. So
it's blue.
Yeah. I always like that one there. So we're coming to the end here, folks. In fact, we're way over time, but we're having a good time. So who cares? It doesn't really matter. We're going to leave you with thoughts on this.
I'm out.
There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people actually who are taking this discussion very similarly to Michael Keaton, where it was like, hey, remember back in the day when people were like, that's not going to work. And then we've got this guy who basically is known for Twilight, even though he's done a ton of other movies. Apparently there's something called The Lighthouse with the Green Goblin. Who's the Green Goblin?
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Good
with
movie.
Willem Dafoe, which is apparently a really good movie. That's kind of what people are like. No. Look, this is what Pattinson can do. On and on and on and on. Here's my problem. Even if Pattinson can act, I'll say he can act. Fine. Let's say he can act.
Agreed.
This looks like shit. Now, again, we go back into it's supposed to be a year one movie. That's a bad idea. I don't need the origin again, folks. We've already talked about this. We don't need the goddamn origins again. So just the design looks bad. Supposedly, this bat symbol on his chest is supposedly made out of the guns that killed his parents. That's Rumorville. I don't know if it's actually going to be there.
Why?
Which, if that's the case, that's terrible. But again, we're stuck in this sort of Christian Bale, Frank Miller place that we don't seem to be able to get out of, even though we're doing things like the Suicide Squad, which is so wild and ridiculous and crazy. Even though the TV shows like The Flash, have color, and they're doing like, King Shark is in that. So like, even though we have all of this stuff happening, every time we do Batman, we're still getting this. And of course, we talked about Colin Farrell as the Penguin. There's some other casting. I can't think of who the Catwoman is. I'm not impressed with the Catwoman casting. But again, she's one of those people that I think it's like, oh my God, Kravitz's daughter, Lenny Kravitz's daughter, I think.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name. But again, it's like, I don't understand the casting. I don't know who she is. I didn't know who Christian Bale was. So maybe it'll work. I don't know. But there's not it's what was funny was every time they talked about this movie, hey, Pattinson, hey, Kravitz, hey, this, hey, that, hey, let me show you this motorcycle. Hey, let me show you this car. Nothing about it makes me want to say I'm ready to see this Batman movie.
They got Andy Serkis, the guy who played Gollum, and Caesar from Planet of the Apes as Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah, he's going to be Pennyworth.
That's fucking weird.
And they got the crazy guy from the Transformers movie as Carmine Falco. John, he's the Jesus in The Big Lebowski. You don't fuck with the Jesus. They got that guy.
Oh my god!
They got him playing an Italian. That makes no sense. But as James Gordon, they got the Jeffrey Wright, who was in the Westworld TV show, right?
Yeah, him I know.
Yeah, Paul Dano. I don't know who the fuck Paul Dano is, but apparently he's playing the Riddler. Book him, Dano.
Sounds familiar.
I don't know who the fuck Paul Dano is. What's he in? He's in nothing I've seen. He's only 10 years older than me.
Here's my deal.
I'm okay with actors that I don't know. I just can't really like project anything because I don't know.
And I think because we discussed this before we all came in, and I'm gonna be honest. Robert Pattinson might be the best goddamn Batman we've seen.
Nope.
Colin Farrell might be the best goddamn Penguin we've seen. Matt Reeves might be the best director for Batman. I don't know yet. I don't care anymore. I'm done with Batman. I want something new from DC. I know we've had Aquaman. I know we've had Shazam. I am ready for something. If you're going to give me a Batman movie, and I'm going to get hell for this, get a good director, get a good writer, bring me a Man of Steel 2 in with a new enemy. Hint Lex Luthor. I don't give a shit. Bring me something new to the table.
Right.
I don't want any more. I love Batman. I love the comics. I'll read the comics once in a while. I'm done with the movies. Like, I don't want to read the movies.
Yeah, where's the Mad? There, because Batman has a long rogue gallery.
Yeah.
Like, where's Clayface? Where's the Mad Hatter? Where is
Clayface would be amazing with CGI.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Well,
nowadays,
depending on who's doing the CGI.
Well, yes, but nowadays most of the time your CGI is pretty good.
Yeah.
So the guy that got playing the Riddler, he was the nerdy dude in The Girl Next Door, and he was also in a couple episodes of The Sopranos. He was AJ Soprano's buddy. That's the only things I remember him in. So he's a nerdy guy, but he's in a lot of stuff apparently. But I honestly, don't. He doesn't have any memorable roles that I have seen that I'm like, oh, like because none of these movies.
No, it might be a wonderful, wonderful Batman movie. It might be great. It might blow my socks off, but I'm just
blow your socks off.
I think there's a lot of people that are kind of in the same boat. I think there's a lot of people that don't want to say it. They don't like to rock the boat. They don't like to, do. But it is serious. It's like, you got to do, and that's the one thing I commend them with Suicide Squad is just going for it. I mean, the first Suicide Squad was not great. It had all kinds of problems. You could have eliminated all of the Joker stuff and had a better movie.
Yeah.
The new one, I just don't care about because I don't care about any of these characters.
No.
There's a lot of actors that I don't like in it. So I'm out on the next Suicide Squad. But I have no problem with them doing conceptually with what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it because you could accidentally trip over something in those kinds of films and end up with something amazing.
Exactly.
And I don't mind test stuff like that at all.
Yeah.
But it just seems like with Batman, it's like it's just the same thing again and the same thing again and the same thing again. That's that was the good thing about Wonder Woman is we had a character outside of what we know. It was true to origins ish, with a little bits of tweaks. But it did hold to the source material. It gave us the origin that, maybe we needed because a lot of people didn't really know who the hell Wonder Woman was. World War I instead of World War II was a little strange, but okay, fine. We can live with that. That's no big deal.
Well, maybe they just don't want to do the whole Captain America thing.
Well,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure that was probably one of the reasons is, everybody would be like, so Wonder Woman and Captain America were both fighting Nazis. Like, where were they? Why didn't they meet?
Where did they meet?
I've seen this movie before. They're just ripping off Captain America.
Exactly. Well, and that's exactly what they did anyway. But, regardless.
It was the closest to the Richard Donner movie we could get from Superman. I'm sorry. When I walked out, I had flashes of seeing the Richard Donner movie again.
What are you talking about?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah, the very first Wonder Woman.
I mean,
kinda.
I get it. I know where you're going.
Flashes, not like completely like.
I know where you're going. It was a different DC movie for sure. 100%. It was a different DC movie, and it felt good. It did feel good.
It would be cool to see a World War II Justice Society of America movie, because you got to think a lot of what they consider as the Golden Age, which they eventually call the Earth 2 superheroes, are all World War II veterans. The original Green Lantern, the original Green Arrow, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Wildcat. Well,
they're dealing with that a little bit in the Stargirl series.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Because they're basically, these new heroes are the legacy of those original heroes, which have the connection back to World War II. So that cool. Kind of is existing a little bit. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Really cool. Yeah. Didn't know that.
Because that'd be cool to see like a World War II movie where it's not just one superhero, like it's a whole team.
That would be cool.
I really like the Justice Society of America. Like that whole team of characters. Really cool.
Yeah, that's Justice Society. It's got all them in it. Yeah, I like put Hawk Girl and
I like Hot Girls.
Someplace in a movie, just like a 10-second
Hot Girl, right? Hot Girl.
Oh, Hawk. Sorry, I think you guys said Hot Girl. I was like, Hot Girl.
It was a joke.
Yeah, Hot Girl. Yay!
Oh my God! All right, guys, we are super overtime, so we're gonna wrap this up tonight. Guys, thank you for hanging out with us. This has been super fun. Next week, we know what we're doing. Next week, it is the return of the Nerd Wars. I will present Jim and David with 2 movies that they have to prove to us this is the one to watch, and then I'll tell them why they're all wrong.
Yeah.
So Nerd Wars next week, back on Saturday, our normal time. Tomorrow, Jim Noble and I will be live on the Camp Rad Dog group page, debuting Camp Rad Dog comic book covers, talking to the cosplayers. We want you to come join us. Join Camp Rad Dog on Facebook right now. We want you to join us tomorrow night. Bring your questions about the event, about the art, about the stories, about the Kickstarters. Bring your questions. We are getting May, June. Basically, we're two months away from this thing happening. So it's time to start giving you guys some info. Bring your questions, and we'll ignore them. Is what will happen.
I want to know who done those beautiful patches. Those patches look beautiful.
Oh, I know who. Can we say? Have we said that already?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys said it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yes. Maybe David will even jump in tomorrow with us tomorrow.
I'll be in the audience
when we talk about the patches. So lots of stuff to talk about tomorrow. Also, remember, guys, Mike James Bengston has just dropped the link. The Legend of Oz Kickstarter ends tomorrow, basically at this time. 23 hours, about 23 hours left to get in on Legend of Oz Kickstarter. We're at 512 backers. We are at 26.5K. So we've got a full 23 hours to go. Please jump in, get yourself some Legend of Oz Kickstarter stuff before we wrap it up. There's a lot of things in there that are exclusive to the campaigns. If you don't get them now, you can't get them later. All right, guys, next week it is Nerd Wars on what is it? May 8th. We are back on Saturday. It is Nerd Wars. Until then, we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.